Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, thank you. And why does the paper have to go over, ladies, and not under? Over's better. Guys don't care, right? I care. Over. Oh, God.
Over is the correct answer.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. We'll get into some NFL football. We'll talk some college football a little bit as the show rolls along. And some Major League Baseball, the last day of the general manager meetings today. And then a month from now is when the winter meetings take place. You know, the general manager meetings only with more television crews and more publicity and reporting on it. We're going to do the same thing a month from now for 3 days, but it's the, quote, winter meetings in baseball. Huge time. Well, you know, the GM meetings are going on right now. It's the same thing. It's just the fall meeting.
No, but the winter meetings is cold.
Yes, fall meetings. I mean, we're talking about players. Honestly, like, I do think these few days set up more traction for a month from now, to where you sort of get feelers of where teams are and what they're thinking and how they're sort of getting ready to approach free agency. I think there's a little bit of that, to where, you know, hey, the Royals are looking to trade a pitcher to bring in a leadoff guy. Okay, well, you're talking to other teams if you're JJ Piccolo at these GM meetings.
It's like,
and as the next month goes on in free agency and teams figure some things out, who they got, who they didn't get, and then the winter meetings come around and you go, all right, we're more willing to deal and make some moves. I get that part of it.
It's like the combine, where you can't. It's the non-tampering period. It's like, let's just say hypothetically you're looking to sign this guy. What hypothetically, what would you give him?
We met with his agent, but that's only because his agent was representing a different player in the draft. It had nothing to do with the negotiation with this player at all.
And then, of course, the non-tampering period ends in 3 minutes after they have this entire deal just done.
They're all speaking in pig Latin.
Yeah.
Awan J. Alerte. Can we pay for your Liant K? Are you saying you want to pay Juwan Taylor? No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
X-nay.
No. I didn't say that. Whoa. Why, you don't? Shh, they're listening. They've bugged this room. Pig Latin, they'll never be able to figure it out. We'll talk with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com. He has figured out who the next person the Chiefs should pay, and he has landed on Trey Smith, which doesn't happen very often. Not many people are landing on Trey Smith. It's usually the other way around. He is pancaking some dudes in these games, but he's landed on Trey Smith, pay that man his money, because he's been so damn good this year. And the Chiefs' identity being more of a powerful run game fits into what Trey Smith does, and we're seeing the market balloon for interior offensive linemen. So we'll talk with Matt Lane about a number of different things. Certainly this Chiefs team getting ready for the Broncos, being 8-0, sort of a mid-season for them. I know they've played 8 games. Mid-season technically is at half of the Denver Broncos at halftime. And because we don't have a show right at halftime with the Denver Broncos, this is sort of the midseason that we'll do. But we'll talk with Matt Lane about that. Chiefs press conference is coming up later on in the show, about 11:45. Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Chris Jones, whoever else may be at the podium. And then today we'll play some Sports or Leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern in the 1 o'clock hour.
Leisure.
Sports today. And then tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, we got Cincinnati heading to Baltimore in a huge AFC North matchup. The Bengals could fall to 4-6, or they could be 5-5 and at 500 and knocking off Baltimore on the road. The Ravens could still maintain just the 3 losses on the season and further separate between them and the Bengals and still be in contention for the 1 seed. Obviously, they would need the Chiefs to lose 4 times between now and the end of the season, but stranger things have happened. The Chiefs have gone 5-4 in a 9-game stretch before in their Patrick Mahomes in history. So that has happened. Lose tonight, and the 1 seed is gone. And heck, maybe the 2 seed, could be gone for Baltimore as well if they lose tonight and they sit there with 4 losses, and the Bills only have 2 at that point. So
it's a
big game.
Wild, because it was, 79 points scored last time these two teams played, 41-38. 41-38 Ravens win. An incredible game.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. This is Thursday Night Football.
Take the under, typically.
Thursday Night Football is typically you rip the under.
Yeah.
Especially with that stat you just laid out.
Right.
Everyone's gonna gamble on the over now.
Great point.
And so I think I'm ripping the under. The over-under was set originally at 52.5 still.
Mm-hmm.
Still 52.5.
And Baltimore, and should point out, that was in Cincinnati that Baltimore went there and won that game by 3, scoring 41 points. This is a chance for Baltimore to sweep the Bengals and a chance for Cincinnati to sort of get their season more on track, more back on track, more tracker for the Bengals as they've gone 3-1 since losing that game to Baltimore with that home loss to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They went those wins, of course, are against the Giants, the Browns, and the Raiders. So,
well, the Raiders were tough for the Ravens.
That's a good point. And they were semi-tough for the Chiefs. But this would be the first time if Cincinnati wins, because as much as people want to talk about the Chiefs are frauds at 8-0, I don't know why they have the Muppet voice when they do that, but that's what I hear. I'm here. You're frauds. You want to guess the? Can you think of the 4 wins for the Bengals this year?
Didn't you just say the?
I said 3 of them.
I was like, wait a minute.
The other one is the Panthers.
Yeah.
So the Bengals' 4 wins are the Panthers, the Giants, the Browns, and the Raiders. So this is a chance for them to actually win against a legit team, okay? Because, the Chiefs are frauds at 8-0 because they're barely beating legit teams. The Chiefs are just barely beating a team that could win the AFC South or the NFC South. The Chiefs barely beat a team that already went to Cincinnati and won in Baltimore. The Chiefs barely beat a team that's you, Bengals. The Chiefs barely beat a team in San Francisco, even though they didn't barely beat the team, but whatever.
That was only a barely beat. That was a beat down.
It was not. They barely beat a team that is leading the NFC South in Atlanta. The Chiefs just barely beating these good teams, while Cincinnati is losing to them and beating non-playoff teams. Giants, Browns, Raiders, Panthers.
Well, I think tonight you'll learn a lot about both of these teams because the Bengals have offensively been really, really good, especially passing the football. Joe Burrow's been outstanding.
He's got 2 different 5-touchdown games this year.
And what's the weakness of Baltimore? Well, it's their pass coverage. I mean,
well, they've got Tre'Davious White now. So
yeah. If this is 2021, I would say, wow, that's a big get. 2024, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Ravens are really good stopping the run. They're still really, really solid there. But the Bengals have the advantage offensively passing the football, which is kind of the opposite for the Ravens. The Bengals have been atrocious stopping the run. They've actually been okay, about average, league average when it comes to stopping passing offenses. So the Ravens with Derrick Henry, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm ripping the over on Derrick Henry. I think you're going to probably see more of a grinded out game because it is Thursday Night Football. But on paper, this one should set up to be that 41-38 one. But Dylan, I'm with you, baby. When everyone says over, when everything is pointing to one specific thing, what do?
The opposite. I mean, the books, they have chandeliers, yada, yada, that cliche. And also, they lost the Super Bowl last year, the biggest game, because 70% of the money was on the Chiefs. So this season, I don't know the record off the top of my head, but I do know for a fact the public is not doing well against Vegas this season in football. So
the other 5-touchdown game, and this is where Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, and I think stats are misleading because Joe Burrow has had a great statistical year. 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It's been phenomenal, right? He had a huge fumble against the Chiefs, which ultimately, at the end of the day, probably was the biggest difference in that game for the Bengals. The scoop and score, the defensive touchdown for the Chiefs, because Chiefs offensively, we know, early on in the season, we were feeling out what they would look like, and it wasn't nearly what we were hoping it would be. And, the loss of Hollywood Brown, that's the big difference. Well, no Kareem Hunt at that time. We didn't know that would be a difference in this particular team, and they had Rashee Rice. But that huge fumble by Joe Burrow in the Chiefs game, and then we mentioned that Joe Burrow has 2 different 5-touchdown passing games against the Raiders this past weekend and against Baltimore. But in that game, he had 5 touchdowns and no interceptions until 2.5 minutes left to go in the game, while the Bengals were leading 38-35.
Are you saying he's not clutch?
No, but he threw the interception on second down. It wasn't a third and long arm punt. It was second down with the ball up 3 in Baltimore territory at the Baltimore 35-yard line.
Yeah.
You're up 3 on second down. And he threw an inexplicable interception. And Baltimore goes down and scores and kicks the field goal and ties the game. They go into overtime. The Bengals, I think, got the ball first and went 3 and out because Baltimore won with a field goal. And it was a walk-off field goal in overtime. So I think the Bengals got the ball first. But the last couple of possessions for the Bengals, up by 3, interception, tie game, punt, overtime, punt. And they lost that game. But Joe Burrow had almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns passing, right? Patrick Mahomes against the 49ers.
They're going back to the Oklahoma game, though.
Patrick Mahomes against the 49ers had his worst quarterback rating day of his career. And yet even 49ers fans that watched that game said, you can't tell me that one guy out there playing quarterback isn't an MVP caliber player if you actually watched the game. Look at the box score. You don't know how that game went down. There is a difference in how they play. There is a feel of frauds across the league without acknowledging a team's ability to find ways to win. And what did Andy Reid say yesterday? It was the, let me find the quote that he said because I wrote it down. He said, in talking about winning close, he said, different things with our team have shown up at important times. So, hey, it's not one thing that we're doing that we're able to win games. There are important times in games, and different things happen that the Chiefs have been, and it's all across the board. It's special teams and a field goal. It's defensive stops. It's a turnover. It's offenses getting, points on the board when need be. There have been a lot of things. A coin flip, the other team calling the wrong side.
Sure.
Baker Mayfield being dumb. It's a lot of things that showed up at different times. And that's why they're 8-0, and that's why they've won 14 consecutive games.
Well, and again, they do things that other teams don't. Derrick Henry this year has over 1,000 yards rushing already.
And 11 touchdowns.
1,052. He's averaging 6.3 yards a carry. What did he do against Kansas City? 46 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. Do you know what his other lowest yardage total is?
I'm going to say it's like 70.
It's 73. 73. He's only gone under 100 yards 4 times this year, and one was 92. But yards per carry, 3.5 against KC. His next lowest is 4.6.
So a full yard and change lower against the Chiefs than any other team. Now, I will offer a grain of salt with that it was the first game of the season, and they were integrating 3 new offensive linemen with a new sort of style of run game. So I'll give a little bit of benefit of the doubt that if the Chiefs face the Ravens today, would those numbers be the same? I actually don't know because the Chiefs have been pretty good. Steve Spagnuolo's been pretty good at stopping the run with the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, he's been elite, but specifically, and maybe even specifically against the Ravens and stopping their run game, he's been pretty damn elite because he was last year in the AFC Championship game when people were complaining about, why did you go away from the run? Like, well, did you watch the game as to how the Chiefs were stopping the run? Did you watch that? Like, they went away from the run because they were tired of being 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 9. That's why they went away from the run, because the Chiefs were stopping it. Spagnuolo's been pretty elite. Now, it was game 1, new offensive lineman, trying to figure out how Derrick Henry would fit in, because now, as the year has gone on, he's gotten stronger and stronger.
Sure.
I think 2 of his last 4 games, he's got, 100 yards and multiple touchdowns rushing.
Oh yeah, he
in
does.
2
I
of his
mean,
last
he's been
4
out.
games.
He's been out
Yeah.
all since the Chiefs game. He's been outstanding. But I also want to point out the long for Derrick Henry against KC. We talk about explosive plays. The Chiefs don't only give up explosive plays defensively. The long against KC was 9 yards. Do you want to guess what his next lowest long is in any given game?
Oh, I'd say probably in the 20s.
20 yards is the
Yeah.
shortest long he's had in a game. Remember when we freaked out about Kareem Hunt going for 15?
I do remember.
And that was a big deal?
I do. Was that you talking about Monday night?
I am talking about Monday night.
And he got up like, oh my God, Kareem Hunt, was that? What did that measure out to be? Was that 45 yards? What was that?
15?
Yeah, well, 15 for him was like 45.
Derrick Henry's shortest long in any game this year is 20 yards.
Except for the Chiefs.
Besides the Chiefs, and it wasn't even double digits.
Yeah, it was 9. Yeah, I mean, and so, we'll see when and if they face them again this year. And we'll also see what Deontay Johnson may look like tonight, And the Bengals' big pickup of Khalil Herbert. We'll see what he looks like in playing a backup to Chase Brown. We'll find out. But it's a big game tonight, obviously, with these two teams that were preseason biggest threats to the Chiefs. And now the Bengals are threatened to may not make the playoffs. They would be a full 2 games behind the final wild card spot if they lost tonight.
80% of the money is on the under.
Wow.
Oh,
So-
what do I
so
do?
then-
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so the public is all over the under.
Yes. And
Shoot.
It's at 52, 53 or 52, depending on the sports book.
Dylan, what do I do? I need
That's
you
what
to
I'm
tell
saying.
me.
What do I do?
I'm giving you the information.
Stan.
The decision is yours, sir.
I don't like having the decision.
You want people to decide for
I
you?
want people to decide for me.
Okay. We'll take a timeout. I'll decide for you. We're going to break. We'll come back on the other side of the break, and I'll decide for you. We're going to play. We're not going to play anything. We'll play Sports or Leisure the 1 o'clock hour, but we will go through our midseason assessment of the Chiefs. Who is the offensive and defensive MVP? That may be easy. But offensive and defensive surprises and disappointments so far this year. What's been better than what we thought it would be, and what's been lesser than that certainly can be improved upon or may just simply not get there this year that we were hoping or expecting that it would get there. We'll take a timeout. We'll do that on the other side of the break. We will talk with Matt Lane at 11 o'clock. We'll hear from the Chiefs at 11:45. Sports or Leisure at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Chris Jones. Insert player here. After Chris Jones, we'll find out who else is at the podium. And then Sports or Leisure, presented by Johnny's Tavern, coming up later on in the 1 o'clock hour.
Hey, breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
There's breaking news. Is this real breaking news or is this Sterling Holmes breaking news?
Sterling Holmes breaking
okay,
news. It's
well,
stupid.
that's,
It's stupid.
Stupid breaking
But I
news.
have to prove a point.
Okay, prove the point. Stupid breaking news, proving point.
I paid off Lebo's coffee bet this morning.
Oh, you did?
So I am
You
good
gave
to
him his
go.
coffee.
I gave him his coffee. The 10-1 bet that I placed with him has now been paid off.
That bet was last week with the Gold Gloves, or Sunday, but you made the bet last week. You bet that Freddie Fermin would win the Gold Glove. Todd Lebo said no, but he gave you 10-1 odds.
Correct. 10 coffees to 1 coffee.
Yeah.
And I feel
I
like
liked you had a 33% chance of winning 10 coffees to 1. I liked the percent. I would have made the same play.
I like my odds. I didn't think Fermin
Yeah.
was going to win. We all
Yeah.
thought it was going to be Cal
Plus,
Raleigh,
you got
but-
yourself a coffee while you were there, so
I
you
did
won
get
too.
myself a coffee,
so
too.
you won as well. you
Yeah,
know?
they're delicious.
And Sterling lost, so we're all winners.
We're
Like
all
everybody
winners.
won in this thing. This is great, except for
Well,
Freddie Fermin.
Except for Freddie
Everybody
Fermin.
won but Fermin. That's unfortunate, And
So
we'll
I did
see.
pay off the coffee, so let that be known.
Let it be known and let it be said. Sterling Holmes
So when
is
Lebo
not on his bets.
So when Lebo waltzes in next time and tries
gonna do
to
like the Missouri
lord,
waltz? Is he gonna
lord
sashay?
Well, when he tries to lord over me with like the betting, I paid it off.
Yes, that's right.
We're
That's
good.
right. Typically, he does walk in and lord over people for different
does.
things. Like,
So
He
we're just
holds
waiting
receipts.
on Dylan's
oh, Dylan's fine. Dylan's got another 6 months to pay
American
anything.
Championship. Don't we have 2? Don't you have something?
That's actually
already
happening
paid off.
tomorrow.
Oh, what about the Royals, the OUs? That was Dylan and Mick. They
Yeah,
both
but
lost.
they got a little bit of time. I mean,
no.
That just happened.
I'm just saying.
It just happened, okay?
Just saying.
American Century is tomorrow.
Is it really?
It is.
Wow.
Ooh.
All right. Very good.
You dog.
I'm not even in Tahoe in the American Centuries tomorrow. That's great. I'll be in, you know what? I'll be in a Tahoe state of mind tomorrow. Maybe I'll wear like a Hawaiian shirt or something.
I will if I remember.
Maybe, and you know what? Get it from Big Kahuna Burgers. That's
There you
that
go.
Hawaiian joint.
Boom. Done.
How early in the morning was it? Always wondered that about Pulp Fiction. It's one of those questions where they left getting breakfast to go over there,
They have burgers.
and they had already had Big Kahuna Burgers.
Could have been a brunch burger though.
So, like, what time of the day was it? I don't know.
It was
Could've
a
been
long drive.
10:30. 10:30.
It could have been a long
11.
time. This ain't my town, man. All right, 913-912-4810. Let's get into the Chiefs and a midseason report, midseason view. MVP for the Chiefs offense.
Yeah.
Anybody have something different than Patrick Mahomes?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you do?
I don't.
Yes.
Okay. Were you thinking it was non-Patrick Mahomes, or were you thinking including Patrick Mahomes?
I was including Pat.
Okay, great. What is it?
Creed Humphrey.
Okay.
Like Patrick Mahomes.
And your case for Creed Humphrey is?
He's been the best center in football by a wide margin. He's been the number 1 ranked by the eye test, by
cool.
PFF, all analytics. I think he's really helped in the red zone, especially with the run game. I think at times holes have been there when he's been the center. Obviously, as we're seeing now by Kareem Hunt's ability to slither his way for the important yards on third down. The Chiefs are the best third down team in football efficiency wise running the football. They are top 3 efficiency running the football. And a lot of that, I think, has to do up front with Creed Humphrey. He has completely changed his entire how he snaps the football to the dead ball snap, and it has actually not affected at all how he pass protects or run blocks. I love Patrick, and I get it. He's the quarterback on an 8-0 team. Patrick, the past couple games, has been incredible, but he had struggled a lot early on in the season, and I don't want to gloss over that. Creed has been nails all season long. I get it. I'm being a little outside the box here. Maybe I'm overthinking this right here, but I want to give Creed Humphrey some credit. So I'm saying MVP offensively for the Chiefs has been an offensive lineman, and it's been Creed Humphrey.
My counterpoint to that would be, let me see how to phrase this. I'm trying to think of the correct way to phrase this.
Yeah, put a different center in there and change the quarterbacks out for Daniel
I'm just,
Jones.
like,
Yeah.
Trying to think, how would I phrase this? Oh, Patrick Mahomes. That's my counter.
No, I get it.
That's how I would phrase it. No, I understand where you're coming from. I disagree, but I understand where you're coming from. Just because, like, if I really wanted to get into the debate, it would be, okay, if Carson Wentz was in there as opposed to Norzad.
Yes, I 100%.
So
yeah.
Wentz for the 8 games and Creed Humphrey, or Mahomes and Norzad for the 8 games. What's the record? But I don't mind having an opportunity to give flowers to Creed Humphrey and what he's done this year in a discussion about, who the best players on the Chiefs offense have been. He would be, my honorable mention.
Sure.
He would certainly be one of the top, after Mahomes, one of the very top of like, okay, who has it been after Mahomes? Creed Humphrey? Yes. I'll listen to Trey Smith. I'll listen to Joe Tooney. I think they're all having career years. Great time for Trey Smith to have a career year. I will listen to Travis Kelce as well, even though early on he was washed and he was old, and now he's pacing for 111 receptions this year.
Well, in the words of DeAndre Hopkins, he's a washed king.
Washed king, yeah. Dude, I looked up, I was looking it up last night, and I was going to bring this up with Matt Lane, but I can bring it up with Matt Lane too. I just won't be able to do it in the fashion that I'm going to do it now. But I looked up last night, Travis Kelce, 35 years old, and had 14 receptions in the game. Set his career high in receptions at 35 years old with 14 receptions, tying his playoff. In the playoffs, he had 14 receptions. So I looked up all of the players in NFL history that were age 35 or older with at least 14 receptions. And it's a pretty interesting list. Like, I'm like, okay, look through these lists. So here are the players, and just for comparison's sake, here are the players that are 35 or older with 14 or more receptions in NFL history. And if you have a pencil or something to write it down, just so you remember.
I could take a guess.
Yeah.
Is it one guy?
It's Travis Kelce. So you don't actually need a pencil to write it down. You just need to remember that it's just Travis Kelce. He is
Jerry
the lone.
Rice.
You got to go back
that.
to 33 years old, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, okay.
You got to go back to being 34. No.
Yeah.
33 years old, Jerry Rice had 14 receptions in a game. That's when you get to that age. And Travis Kelce was done, and he was old, and you weren't going to see that Travis Kelce anymore. And all he did was set a career high in receptions this past week as a 35-year-old. And the only person over the age of 33 to have at least 14 receptions in a game.
Well,
It's a long list.
small tidbit here on him. I don't know if the yak ability is going to be there anymore.
It's not. I wish he would stop thinking it was there.
Yes, that was my point. I wish he
Sorry.
would stop doing. Well, no. It's fine. But I wish he would stop trying to act like he's even 3 years ago. It's not there. But this evolution of Travis is still so valuable.
Yes.
The receptions might be higher, and the yak is going to be way down. But you're going to still look up, and it's still going to be 100 yards. So instead of 7 catches for 100 yards, now it's 14.
14 for
But the efficiency of 14, and I think it was 14 of 16 targets.
Yes.
That's gonna work.
Yeah.
That's gonna work.
There was 2 plays there where I'm like, okay, I wish this was Travis Kelce sort of understanding he's 35-year-old Travis Kelce. Opening drive,
Yeah.
second down, and he's got the first down, and he tries to dodge the tackler to pick up more yards, and he actually loses 2 yards, so it sets up 3rd and 1. Luckily, they have been unbelievable on 3rd down, and Kareem Hunt.
Because of Creed Humphrey, baby.
Yeah. And Kareem Hunt will not get stopped on those short yardage situations.
No, it's incredible.
I mean, 3rd and 1, he picks up 3. 4th and 1 later in the game.
Yeah.
At their own 46, he picks up 3 on 4th and 1. Todd Bowles punts on 4th and 2. Andy Reid went for it on 4th and 1. Todd Bowles went for the extra point at the end of regulation, and the Chiefs won in overtime.
Yeah.
There's a couple decisions along the way. And
Coaching decisions.
Yeah.
Right. It's a all-inclusive.
And I do wonder if Todd
Win.
Bowles had the running game against his defense. If Todd Bowles was flipped, if he had the running game of the Chiefs against the Bucs defense on that 4th and short, if he would have said, yeah, we're going to go for it.
Sure.
Versus his running game versus the Chiefs' run defense on 4th and 1.
Yeah, it's
do
a lot
we go
different.
for it, or do we say, we're going to play field position here because I don't trust what we can do against this defense in simply running the football because we haven't been able to do it tonight.
But you
on
also
a
have Kate
consistent basis.
Otten against the Chiefs.
100%. And you got Baker Mayfield's legs. You can use a number of different
True,
things
yeah.
there for him to go and pick up the first down. So
You now have QB sneak in the equation where the Chiefs don't.
That's exactly right. Yes. Defense. Patrick Mahomes, Dylan. Okay. Defensive MVP. Chris Jones. Or
Yeah.
did you go Creed Humphrey?
No, I went Chris Jones, but I said if not Chris, because we're going to be
Yeah,
the
right,
whole
right.
not Chris. I think Trent McDuffie's another
with
good
that.
one, but I actually went Leo Chenal. I think the emergence of Leo Chenal, and maybe that's someone's surprise or on defense. I think Leo Chenal's been absolutely outstanding all season long. He's really impressed me, all facets. He's not necessarily an every down linebacker, but still the snap counts have gone up, and the efficiency is still there. I love when he lines up now as a little bit of an edge rusher on the outside, almost that stand-up. If you're doing a 4-3, he's almost like a stand-up outside linebacker, though. Defensive end, I love Leo, man. I've just been very impressed with everything he brings to the table.
I went Chris Jones.
So I would like to go Chris Jones, but I'm actually going to go George Karlaftis. I think that he has had a very – I wanted to put him in surprise, but I don't feel like that's doing him justice. I do feel like he's had a he's like almost right next to Chris Jones as far as importance on the line. Obviously not, but
yes.
You know what I mean?
He is. If we're talking about Chris Jones getting double teamed, somebody has to get the sacks and has to get the production.
And he has. So.
Since the bye, Karlaftis has been noticeably incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if he needed, like just because you're playing so long into the Super Bowl and then you have training camp and but that bye, all of a sudden, George Karlaftis looks fresher, quicker, and he's making an impact in almost every single play. I love that call, Dylan.
Yeah. No, it's good. All right, let's get into our surprises on offense and defense, and then we'll take a break, come back and do disappointments on offense and defense. So the surprise on offense for me is it's not a specific player. It may be attributed to a specific player, but it kind of goes in line with what you're talking about with Creed Humphrey. Me, it's just in general the run game.
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge surprise to me how well they're running the football. Like, I thought this offense was going to be the high-flying, taking shots deep. Like, the offense is back, baby. It's 2018, 19, 20. Here we go, right? Even throw in 2022. Like, it's Chiefs were number one in offense that year in 2022 with Juju and MVS and McColl, and this is going to be great. And it hasn't been that. It's been more of a struggle. But the run game and that identity that Matt Nagy talked about a week ago today, or I should say a week ago on Friday, that they're developing that with that run game. And I heard Jesse Newell this morning on New Day, and I didn't realize this stat, but it's one of the reasons why, listen to Jesse Newell on New Day and read the columns and the pieces there at the KC Star with him and McDowell and everybody. The Chiefs ran 12 plays of power run. 12 power run plays, which was the most in the NFL of any team this year. Running the ball 12 times in a power. That's not only surprising, that's downright shocking. That they would even run it that many times, but also to have that level compared to other teams in the NFL. That is a massive swing from where we would ever expect Andy Reid and his offense to be. So to me, the surprise is the run game. Kareem Hunt and those guys. What's your surprise?
Yeah,
Sterling?
so I think Kareem Hunt's the obvious answer. So I think Kareem, and I said if I'm not going to go with the obvious one, I'd say Noah Gray. I think I think Noah Gray's been really solid. Obviously, he's kind of, I don't want to say been filtered out with Travis Kelce stepping up, but with Travis Kelce almost easing his way into the season this year, Noah Gray was that guy. Noah Gray allows the Chiefs to run a lot more 12 personnel. He's got sure hands. When Mahomes looks his way and throws his way, he's coming down with the football. For me, I think Noah Gray has been such a nice surprise offensively, if I'm not going to go with the run game.
Yeah. Dylan, what say you?
I'm going to go Kareem Hunt specifically, just because of everyone basically not giving him a chance. He came to our team, and he's been a lot better than kind of what people obviously forecasted for him this season.
Was it Justin Reed after the game that said, this dude was on his couch?
Yeah.
This dude was on his couch like 4 weeks ago. Like, think about that guy. Like, Justin Reed went out. Hold on. I just want to say, I know we're talking defense, but I got to say this, right? There you go. Surprise on offense. Surprise on defense. Surprise on defense. I'm going Leo Chenal.
Okay.
That's my surprise. I just put the letter D down there, and I'm like, is that disappointment or no? Oh, no, that's surprise offense defense. Okay. Leo Chenal is my surprise. You put him into like the MVP part, and I understand that. I didn't expect Leo Chenal to be anywhere near of what he's been doing so far this year. So he's easily my surprise on defense, and that has been a great surprise because he's been like a Swiss Army knife for this team.
His coverage grade at linebacker is 84.2.
I don't know.
That is
good or
absolutely
not. Is that
elite.
1 to 1,000?
I mean, his entire everything about Leo this year has been elite. It's been incredible. He's 7th out of all linebackers in football this year.
Yeah, he's awesome. Is that your surprise or?
Because I had him too high.
You had him,
first surprise. So I said Turk Wharton.
I wrote down the ones that I wrote. Turk Wharton was right there that I was writing down. I'm like, those are the first two that came to mind. Leo, Turk, and
those are the first two. And I said
Karlaftis to a degree, but I think I liked more of Karlaftis being in the MVP discussion than in surprise discussion. I like that one. I like Leo and Turk. Dylan?
I actually went Turk as well.
I love it.
He, what was
I
it?
feel smart that Dylan agreed with
Two
me.
games ago that he was the stop on 4th down, essentially. He is insane. If Chris Jones wasn't in the middle, he would be getting a lot more praise, I feel like.
Yeah, he's been really good. And that's another guy that if Chris Jones is going to take up attention, you need to go and produce.
Because I also believe he wouldn't be
and he's been
as good without Chris.
He's been doing that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we'll talk about the things that have not been to the level and the degree that we were hoping they would be, the disappointment on offense and defense, and how can they improve with those things. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. expand on these a little bit further later on in the show, but disappointment on offense. To me, it's like I was trying to weigh how much of a disappointment it was versus what my expectations were, but I still landed on Xavier Worthy.
That's hard.
I know.
Rookie.
I know, and maybe the disappointment could just be injuries overall. But sorry if I stole your thunder.
Injuries.
Sorry if I stole your thunder, dude. And so Patrick Mahomes saying, "Yeah, Xavier Worthy, like what's not being shown is the impact he's making by taking the top off the defense." And that's what I expected for him too. Like I thought his impact would come in having matchups that would create advantages for other players by him being on, and it wouldn't come in production, right? It wouldn't come in volume like Rashee Rice was. But still, I think there's been a disappointment in how he's been utilized with the opportunities. And, a couple of jump ball opportunities that he couldn't come down with. And on Monday night, the opening drive, that was pretty frustrating. And it's not simply because I had Xavier Worthy first touchdown score would have been a decent amount. But like that doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter
on this. But I went back and forth because I'm like, man, I think this might be harsh because he's kind of doing what I thought he would do.
Yep.
But I still find myself being disappointed. I can't help my feelings, Sterling, okay? I'm
go-
not going to run away from my feelings, all right?
I go back and forth because I keep saying at least he's getting open and at least Mahomes looks his way. I think there's a lot there, so I kind of threw him out. It was either Mahomes or Juwan Taylor. Mahomes, I think, has been disappointing compared to what we thought he was going to be this year, and then Juwan Taylor has been
the last 3
solid.
games has
He's
been
really
good.
really good. But
probably his best 3-game stretch in a Chiefs uniform.
Agreed, but I'm taking the full season in totality. He's getting better, so.
Yeah.
But Mahomes probably.
Dylan?
I'm going to go Kingsley. I thought he would
get it.
be
Totally. He was on my list.
At least, they gave him the start week 1, and it did not go well at all. So
he was on my list, too. Like, if you'd have said that he got pulled in week 2 and hasn't seen the field outside of Wanya Morris cramps and then Wanya Morris reporting eligible.
Yeah.
That would be a disappointment. On the defensive side, disappointment for me is opening drives for the opposing team. That's the big disappointment for me. Chiefs have had 8 games, so 8 opening drives.
Yeah.
64 plays, 430 yards. That's 7 yards per play. And they've given up 31 points in 8 drives. They haven't given up a 30-point game since the Eagles, and they face 10 or 11 drives per game. But opening drives this year, they've given up 31 points, 4 touchdowns, a field goal, only 1 3-and-out, and then a turnover on an interception.
Hey,
so
they're boxers. They just fill you out. They give you the drive and then
there
take it away.
There aren't many disappointments with the defense, except for one that we've been talking about a lot. But that's one of the under-the-radar things has been the opening drives for the opposing team. And Tampa Bay was their second drive that they went down and scored after the early punt. But still, it's been early on in the game for the Chiefs and their defense out on the field that the Chiefs have been giving up 7 points in the first quarter.
You've heard this a lot from me, pre-bye, post-bye. I think post-bye, the Chiefs defense and a lot of players are playing a lot better. Drew Tranquill pre-bye was my biggest disappointment because I thought Drew Tranquill was brutal.
Yeah.
Post-bye, he's been great.
He's been really good.
But overall, I think Joshua Williams not taking that CB2 role. So,
Dylan?
Yep. Same. Joshua Williams for the same reason.
I had the exact same thing written down, but I was like, you know what? I think we're all going to land on the same thing. And while they have improved on the opening drive defense, and Tampa was not an opening drive on Monday, okay? It was the second drive. It sort of felt like that. Like, man, here's one of those early drives where the Chiefs defense can't get off the field, even though they did, but they can't get off the field, and they give up a touchdown. And, that doesn't even count. That Tampa Bay second drive on Monday night doesn't even count for the 31 points they've given up on opening drives.
Yeah.
That's almost 4 points per drive on opening drives for the Chiefs.
Not great, Bob.
Not great. They improved that. Good God. Katie bar the door, as they say to Katie. 2 o'clock. We will hear later on this hour from the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Chris Jones, and we'll see who else is going to be at the podium today. We talked in the first hour as we are at the midway point. Technically, midway is halftime against the Broncos, but midway point, looking at who we think the MVP on offense and defense is and our surprises and disappointments on both sides of the football. And a lot of us coming to some of the same conclusions, but in different ways, looking at what this team has done and hopefully what improvements can be made along the way. Like, my disappointment on defense has, and I know, the obvious one is sort of Joshua Williams or cornerback 2, and Jalen Watson was shoring that up, and that wouldn't be a disappointment if Jalen Watson's injury didn't happen. I think that would be a point to where you go, it's been kind of a surprise on defense. It's been a nice, it's been a nice above expectation play opposite Trent McDuffie with such an unknown when L'Jarius Sneed was traded away. But then Jalen Watson goes down. There's more pressure on Joshua Williams to step up. Najee Johnson has the concussion. I understand why it would be that, and I agree that has been a big part of it. But the overall defense has been really good. And the one weakness that we've seen overall in the defense has been early on in the game, and especially those first possession drives of the game for the opposing team. That's where my big disappointment has been. And I will point out, the Chiefs talked about it going into the bye week that they had to be better at that. Baltimore, they gave up a touchdown on the first drive. Cincinnati, they gave up a field goal on the first drive. Atlanta, they gave up a touchdown on the first drive. Chargers, they gave up a touchdown on the first drive. And then New Orleans was driving and they got an interception. And then they went into the bye week. And they said, defensively, this has to be a focus. We've got to be better. We've got to come out quicker and be ready to go to match the intensity or their scripted plays, whatever it might be. Because there's a pro and a con to this. The con is obviously giving up the points. The pro is that you've got a defensive coordinator like Steve Spagnuolo who's making the adjustments to what he is seeing the other team do in their scripted plays. Because a lot of scripted plays aren't just, hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to practice these, we're going to be so good at these scripted plays that we're going to be efficient and we're going to score. But some of those scripted plays are to see what the defense is doing and then play off of that to make their adjustments. And the defense also has to do that. Like, okay, here's how we are playing these. Here's what they were doing to us. Here's our adjustment. The offense, here's what they're doing to us. Here's how we are going about our scheme. Here's the adjustment. And clearly, throughout the games, the better adjustment has been by the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo and what he's done defensively, because they have been much better from the second drive to the rest of the game this season. And so I will give credit where credit is due, that even after that Monday night game against New Orleans, when they went into the bye and said, we've got to do better, even with that turnover on that first drive by the Saints, they've done that. I mean, 3 of the last 4 games, they've gotten off the field without giving up a point. The Raiders are the outlier. They gave up that touchdown, 12 plays, 75 yards to the Raiders. Tampa Bay forced the punt on Monday night. San Francisco went 3 and out, coming off the bye. And then, as I mentioned, New Orleans Saints interception. If it continues that trend, yeah, a little bit different. Because the Chiefs hit the field down 7-0 against Baltimore and down 3-0 against Atlanta and down 7-0 against, or 3-0 against Cincinnati and down 7-0 against Atlanta. Like, they went out there on the field and they were already trailing in their first possession, because we know the Chiefs like to get the ball at halftime. And we know there are a lot of teams that when they win the toss, they've elected to receive and get their offense out and try to get a lead. And with the way that teams have been going about the Chiefs' defense on the first drive, that makes a whole lot of sense as to why they would want to do that. And so, yeah, that's been my disappointment. And I think even as it's been a disappointment the entire season, I think there's a level of it being a improvement since the bye week, that they haven't been as bad doing that. Tampa Bay was sort of the first game that even after that opening drive, it sort of felt like the defense was giving up more yards per play and points and things like that. But still, when you compare the rest of the game, when the Chiefs have gone 29 straight games without giving up more than 27 points, but in these 8 drives, they've given up 31 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's less than a full game's worth of drives. Usually you're looking at 10 or 11, and there have been 8 of these drives that have resulted in the Chiefs team, giving up 31 points.
For me, these opening drives, what I find so interesting, they're not letting them score, obviously. Let me make that clear.
It's the okie doke. I get it. It's smart.
The Chiefs aren't letting them score.
A false sense of security.
But I do think there is something to almost seeing what the opposing team is wanting to do. And then Spagnuolo goes, all right, now I see what you want to do. We're just going to take that away. And then the opposing offenses are befuddled. They're confused. They go, well, shoot, we thought this was going to work. We had this all planned out. And Spags goes, okay, we're going to play vanilla the first time. We're an amoeba. The second we figure out what you're going to do, we're going to attack. And I think there is something.
Pounce like a tiger.
I think there is. What was that voice?
It was Austin Powers, right? Like tiger, pounce like a tiger. Not him, but go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
but
my apologies.
Me, you. No, I'm not gonna do that. Probably can't say that on the air. But no, I think there's something to almost playing vanilla that first drive to see what the offense is trying to attack you with before the defense really figures it out and then takes that away.
Yeah, no, I could see that absolutely. And those first 15, hey, we're going to run these plays on offense to see what the defense is doing, and we're going to adjust to it.
Yeah.
And Steve Spagnuolo has been the one adjusting to it. And those opening drive touchdowns have dried up.
Yeah.
Outside of the Raiders. Those first 4 weeks, that was the big conversation. First 4 weeks, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, touchdown. I mean, they gave up 24 of the 31 points that they've given up this year on opening drives. They've done that in the first 4 games. They did that in the first 4 games. So they've gotten better with that. And maybe it's a little bit of Tampa Bay on Monday night with the second drive still being in my mind, that the second drive they went, 9 plays and 70-something yards and scored a touchdown.
Sure, I will always point out, we talk about the first 15 all the time and how great it is in Kansas City. Well, other teams have first 15s too.
Yeah, and Liam Cohen is damn good.
He had a game plan and it worked, but other teams have first 15s, and the one that really stands out is the Vikings, for example. The Vikings, with Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold, they're one of the best in the NFL. But then you see after the first 15 what happens. Well, their offense dries up. Yeah. But other teams have good head coaches and good play calls. Sometimes you got to tip your cap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a tipping of the cap to Steve Spagnuolo and the defense.
Yes.
After the opening drives, because they've been damn good. I didn't go and look at every other drive and see what the points per drive was. I know it's not 4. I guarantee you it's not 4 points per drive this season for the Chiefs.
Can confirm.
But that's been the opening drives. With all of them, with all 8 of them, it's been 4 points per drive, averaging out in these 8 games. And again, they've been better. And I think they will be better, because especially if they're going to be focusing on that a little bit more. And it's been 1 out of 4 in these last 4 weeks. So that was my disappointment. But I think most everybody can agree that the biggest one has been, what do you do opposite Trent McDuffie? And it does suck that if it weren't for the injury, I think there's a chance that disappointment of quarterback 2 would be in the surprise category.
Oh, it would have been Jalen Watson.
Oh, Jalen Watson's been a surprise. This is great.
I still almost put him in there.
Yeah.
But just because we won't see him.
Yeah. Maybe February, maybe late January. But
well,
I was
laughing. Like? He deleted a tweet. Good friend Daniel Holmes, obviously on the show sometimes, didn't even tag him, but was talking. Somehow Jalen Watson got brought up, and he was like, "Yeah, it's a bummer that Jalen Watson's going to miss miss the rest of the season." And then Jalen Watson responded and said, "Who said I'm missing the rest of the season?"
And then he deleted it.
Oh. So we'll see what that.
Supposed to keep that under wraps, Jalen. He's playing this weekend.
Yeah.
What is that?
But
But
it's one of those situations where the Chiefs went in with 3 guys that they thought could take that spot: Watson, Williams, Johnson.
Yeah.
They had 3 guys. I don't think they knew who was going to step up, but they thought if we throw enough bodies, one of these guys will. And they were correct.
Exactly. They got it right. They were right, yeah.
It was Watson. Well, the issue is now the guy they hit on, he's out for the year, or at least the majority of the season.
Well, he's out for the regular season. We know that. Like, he ain't gonna. If
Yes.
he returns, it's gonna be late in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. So.
And so you're sitting here going, the Chiefs actually got that right, but when you're decimated by this many injuries, it's almost like the offensive line of the Super Bowl. It's, okay, well, you can handle some. You can't handle all.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And that's kind of what we're getting to, and that's why it leads me to Joshua Williams, because, again, the pedigree, the fact that Williams was good last year in limited action, was good last year. Not average. He was good last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I still have hope that, like, I don't think he forgot how to play football.
No.
In the offseason, right? But I think he was good last year. Like, I went in this offseason, we talked about signing L'Jarius Sneed or Chris Jones, and I'm like, well, you signed Chris Jones because you've got more of a chance to replace L'Jarius Sneed than you do Chris Jones. And Chris Jones does so much for that defense and that defensive line that you got to sign. You figure out what to do with Chris Jones, and they did. And they traded L'Jarius Sneed. And Joshua Williams was a big reason why I was perfectly fine with them making the move to trade L'Jarius Sneed, save the cap space, use it elsewhere, and get a third rounder. Didn't know how good the third round pick would be.
Sure.
I would like them to keep losing. That was a bad win against the Patriots from the Chiefs' perspective. And them having like the number 9 or 10 pick now, that's just stupid. But, we'll see what that pick ends up being. But I liked that move. And a big reason why I liked the move was because of Joshua Williams.
Yeah.
So I still have an optimism that can be better. And if that improves, well, then yes, the defense can improve. Then the defense gets better. And they're already one of the strongest units in the NFL is the Chiefs defense. Like, that's the area to where the Chiefs are undefeated. They're 8-0. And people want to call them frauds, or they haven't been as good, or they're winning these close games, or they're eking by, or the ball bounces their way 14 straight times. The refs are on their side 14 straight times. It all comes down to a call here or bounce there for 14 consecutive games, including 3 games in a row that were on the road or at a neutral site in the playoffs against the 3 of the best teams in the NFL, and the toughest road that anybody, according to DVOA, has ever had to go through to win a Super Bowl. But the luck of the ball bouncing one way or another, or the coin flip, whatever. By the way, remember, the 49ers won the coin flip.
Yeah.
So don't give me the coin flip that the Chiefs get lucky there. The 49ers won the coin flip. They just got lucky that team wasn't as prepared as the Chiefs were.
Which is a part of, again,
Yeah.
football. It's a part of the game. You have to be prepared.
Right.
But when you look at the Chiefs' defense, they don't really have a weakness outside of that CB2 spot. How many teams do you look around the NFL? I mean, we're talking about the Ravens. Their pass defense in totality is brutal.
Yeah.
You look against the Ravens when it comes to stopping the run, brutal. The Chiefs don't really have that issue. I think depth is such an immense aspect, and maybe an under talked about impact this Chiefs defense has. Is they're so multiple at so many different spots. Safety spot, they have 3 or 4 guys they can throw.
Yeah.
That I think you feel comfortable with. Linebacker spot, since the bye, Drew Tranquil's been great. Obviously, we've talked about Leo Chanel all season long. Nick Bolton, I think, has been quietly having one of his best seasons ever as a Kansas City Chief after those first 2 games where he was brutal. On the defensive line, we thought could be a concern. They've all been really, really impressive. I mean, even guys like FAU.
Even guys like Malik Herring have been,
But they've been useful
been
players.
productive. They've been useful is a good word.
Because FAU, I know it's not the first-round pedigree that you want to hear, but it's almost like the McCole Hardman situation where it's like, well, no, it's not DK Metcalf, but it's also not Andy Isabella, a guy who's like out of the NFL.
Yeah.
No, FAU is not a game-changing edge right now, but he's also been a useful rotational piece. He's not a guy who's getting blown back on every single play. He's a guy who's actually making somewhat of an impact. He's useful. And I think that's been a major under-talked-about part of this Chiefs defense is all of the players they have. They don't necessarily have a weak spot outside of CB2, but just the depth.
And hopefully that somebody steps up there. And it's like, if you had your choice and you said, okay, the Chiefs are going to suffer an injury, season-ending injury to a positional group, like there's part of me that, depending on who it is, obviously, there's part of me that was like, well, if they were going to do that, maybe safety would have been the better spot. Not Justin Reed. Sure. And a little bit of that is also because of recent development that Mike Edwards gets cut by the Bills, and now he's signed with the Titans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if the Chiefs were in a position to where, hey, cornerback 2, is it Joshua Williams, Ozzie Johnson? If it was Jalen Watson up there, hey, Brian Cook is out for a while, and you got Reed, you got Connor, but you got Jaden Hicks, but do you want to go out and say, oh, Mike Edwards is available? Cool, he's a Chief. Like 10 minutes after he was released by the Bills probably would have been here in Kansas City. But the Chiefs have Reed and Cook and Hicks and Connor. They don't need that spot. So Mike Edwards signs with the Titans where he will be on the active roster, not on the practice squad, which is where the Chiefs would probably have him because they don't have room. They've already got 4 safeties on this team.
Well, and just in general with Chamari Connor, who we expected to play in the slot the majority of the season, he hasn't really done that. He did early on.
Now CRW is out there a number of times.
Christian Roland Wallace has kind of taken over that slot corner role. Chamari Connor's been more of a legit safety now. And he's actually graded out really solid according to PFF. I think Chamari Connor's been a nice – again, the Chiefs don't have a whole bunch of superstars defensively. Trent McDuffie and Chris Jones, but they have a whole bunch of really, really solid players.
Agreed.
I always think of like the Tampa Bay Rays. Like the Rays
with
are
championships.
But with championships, but like defensively, the Rays are they don't always have a whole bunch of superstars. They have a whole bunch of depth. They have a whole bunch of players who they don't drag down. It's never like a 7-8-9 in their lineup where you're like, oh, that guy. If you get a 7-8-9, it's an automatic out. The Chiefs are kind of like they don't have a 7-8-9 that you're like, oh my gosh, this is an automatic play given up.
Well, and that's where the argument or the strategy of defense. How do you build a defense? Do you build it with a couple of superstars, stars and jags, or do you build it with it's good to have a superstar in there as well, but it's
the Vikings
better,
are a great example of this.
It's better to have non-holes.
Yeah.
Just everybody just play their particular – have representative play across the board as opposed to this guy's a superstar, that guy's a superstar, but that guy is really bad and that guy is really bad and this guy over there is really bad, so that superstar better be a superstar as opposed to, hey, you got a couple really good players and solid play across the board.
Well, how about the Vikings? Vikings are the perfect example of that. How many superstars or great players are on the Vikings defense? I don't think anyone. How many great players are on the Eagles defense, and who's had a better defense this year?
Yeah, that's true. And we'll see what the Eagles defense looks like.
They've been better. They've been
against
better.
the Dallas Cowboys this weekend.
Well, they moved Cooper DeJean to the slot corner spot, and that defense looks a lot better. But
and
still,
Cooper Rush will be going up against Cooper DeJean. Yes. Who, by the way, Cooper DeJean looks like he's 14 years old. He's a 14-year-old kid. Like, he looks like he's deciding where he's going to go to college when he talks post-game in the locker room. It's like, hey, man, you got your driver's license yet? What's it? You practicing?
And dogs locking down slot receivers.
It's like freaking Doogie Howser over here. Like, you graduated already? Oh, that's good. Good for you, man. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll catch up with Matt Lane, KCSN. We'll hear from the Chiefs later on this hour. More Zone next. In KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
We're doing pretty good today. We got some good weather out here for me, so get a little bit of outdoor time in before we get to this weekend where the Chiefs look to remain undefeated, which is always a good time.
Remind me again, where are you located?
North Carolina. So we got a nice hot day going on today right now.
Do you take offense when I say North Carolina?
No, I grew up in Missouri for the majority of my life and moved out here. I speak all kinds of different ways than everybody else does out here.
I just got that from Roy, like North Carolina. I can give a bleep about North Carolina right now. And then it's Sac-Carolina and North Carolina. But that's just me.
Doing your Xavier Legette impersonation right now?
Dude, Xavier Legette, man. I will listen to that guy talk all freaking day, man. I love Xavier Legette, dude. And so do the Panthers. They just don't like Jonathan Mingo. So, which is fine, whatever. Matt Lane is our guest. Matt, I want to get to what you wrote about at kcsn.substack.com. And I think it's a really interesting point because Matt Nagy last week said the identity they are growing into is this run game, this power run game, Kareem Hunt, that having an identity, they are starting to have one and develop that. And they went to that identity in the second half. They were like, all right, let's just do what we've been doing. And they were successful in doing that. So brings us to the question about the offensive line and Trey Smith and how good he's been. The market for interior offensive line has ballooned. They're paying Creed Humphrey, that gap between the highest paid center and what the guard market is. So you wrote about it. Did you come to a conclusion on the Chiefs and Trey Smith if he should be the priority going into the offseason or maybe midseason to extend him and get something done there and make sure that Trey Smith-Creed Humphrey combo remains in Kansas City for the next 4 years?
See, I'm gonna take the easy way out of this one, right? And it all depends on what the Chiefs want to do as their offensive. You're talking about their offensive identity going forward, but even more than the identity, just kind of what is their goal for how they want to run the offense? I think we all thought coming into this year the goal was to get back to being a more passing attack, especially a more vertical passing attack, deeper sets, longer developing routes, trying to push the ball downfield, and maybe they still want to do that, and just injuries and stuff like that haven't allowed them to. And if that's the case, if that is your goal, then you're probably going to prioritize receivers. You're probably going to prioritize offensive tackles and things like that help you really push the ball downfield. maybe not a second interior offensive lineman because Creed Humphrey's already locked in for, the foreseeable future. Maybe not a second interior guy, especially one like Trey Smith, who's been very good this year and playing the best he has in his career, but maybe his strongest suit isn't his pass protection. So I could see the avenue, if that's the route they want to go, to passing on paying him probably near the top of the offensive guard market. However, you watch what the Chiefs have been this year, boy, it sure seems hard to see this team being that vertical passing attack, leaning on pass protection, leaning on the vertical passes, and not this smash mouth style of run, not this team trying to grind games out, lean on defenses, have that body blow theory really come into effect. And when you really watch them, the one guy that kind of personifies that has been Trey Smith, in my opinion. And I think just the more we watch, the more we see, they really base a lot of what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball in terms of like the run game and wearing teams out based around Trey Smith's ability. So if that's the plan, if that's who they see themselves going forward, I find it hard to believe you wouldn't want to pay that guy even if it's a lot of money.
It's a great point about, if they don't plan to be a power run game and want to be back to where they were in passing the ball. And you brought up an interesting point about, passing on 52% of the downs or 53% of the plays, which is the lowest since, 2012, 2013, something like that for the Chiefs. So we know Andy Reid likes to pass the ball. My view on it is I wasn't necessarily in favor of signing Trey Smith this offseason. I wanted to see, I thought maybe Wanya Morris could be the replacement for Trey Smith and, Kingsley playing left tackle. But the way that I've kind of looked at it now is, they paid Creed Humphrey, that if you were to pay Trey Smith, which obviously would be expensive, then the way you could structure it is, Trey takes on what the Tooney money is, the next couple of years when Tooney's money comes off the books. And so you just sort of exchange that. And then a couple of years from now, Trey Smith's salary cap is essentially what you're accounting for Jawan Taylor right now. So if that were the case, it would give you 2 years to find this year offseason and draft to find a Tooney replacement and 3 years to find a Jawan Taylor replacement. And you could sign Trey Smith to find cheaper pieces at left guard and right tackle. That would be doable if they found those pieces in the draft.
100%. It wouldn't be the cheapest offensive line room or anything like that, but you could afford, if you're the Chiefs, and it might come at the cost of maybe having to move on from a Justin Reed and going a little bit cheaper at safety, maybe not being able to afford to keep all of the linebackers you have. You would have to make some kind of sacrifice right now to keep Trey Smith, but you very financially could make it work. And I think it really kind of, as you said there, it makes sense if you are going to, one, probably let Joe Tooney go after next season, I think is when it becomes the most financially responsible. And it's not like Trey Smith would be, demanding a ton of money in that contract next year. You could work it to where that money doesn't balloon until Tooney's gone. You will have to find some answers at tackle, whether that is finding a veteran that's making a more middling contract than Jawan Taylor currently is, or finding somebody in the draft. So I think they could make it work. It just, again, it comes back to you have to continue to really pound the rock. You have to continue to want to lean on the run game, because when we watch them right now, and I went over it on that article on the KCSN Substack, is that watch how they run. They run behind Trey Smith when they need to create space. They get Trey Smith on the move when they have a little bit more room to operate and they're trying to attack someone on the second level. A lot of their run game depends on Trey Smith kind of being a dominant force as a run blocker. You take him away, I don't think this Chiefs run game falls apart this year, but I think it definitely takes a step back. And right now, the way the offense is functioning, I don't know if it looks this good if all of these 4-yard runs are becoming 2-yard runs or 3-yard runs. I don't know if you don't continue to have one of the NFL's best third down offenses since, 2000 if you remove Trey Smith from the equation. So the way they're playing, he seems really important to this team right now, and the way he is, and then he's also having his best year. So it's a tough task they got to figure out this offseason.
Are you surprised that this is a team that has gone from, in the preseason and training camp, we're like, all right, this offense is going to get back to being the offense that we've seen in the past. They're going to be throwing the ball deep. They're going to be attacking, secondary levels, and they're going to be putting the ball in hands of playmakers. Isaiah Pacheco, he'll be doing his thing, but this is going to be the 5,000 yards or 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. Mahomes, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And they've gone from that sort of plan and what they were showing in training camp and preseason games to they ran 12 power runs. They ran 12 plays that were power on Monday night against the Buccaneers. How surprising is that to you that we've seen this transition so quickly from Andy Reid to do things that aren't in their comfort to now turn into what is a power run game? I mean, Jesse Newell wrote about it, and it was like, the most specifically power runs in one game for any team this year is the Chiefs? What?
The run game specifically, it makes sense given their personnel.
Yeah, right.
It really does, and every fan's been asking for it, since they drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith and kind of got a little beefier along the offensive line, but they hadn't really committed to it. And this year, all season, there's been an uptick in the power, the gap run scheme stuff, but they really did lean on it this past week against the Bucs. I do think they are leaning on it more consistently, and I think you're seeing that grow with Kareem Hunt as your running back. I think he tends to run it relatively well. He has a good pacing. He has a good vision how to play off the pulling blocks and everything. So I'm not surprised that the run game specifically has transitioned to this, but how much they've utilized the run game and stuck to it for an Andy Reid team has been relatively impressive because it's not a super dynamic run game. I know we made a lot of hubbub about it. They're not hitting explosive plays a ton. They're not breaking a ton of tackles. This isn't Damian Williams, of the 2019 season where, he might get stuffed a bunch, but then he's going to rip off a 50-yard run if you just feed him enough, right? It's not that, but they are sticking to it. They're using the run game to control the not field position, but you're down a distance, and then letting Patrick Mahomes, not save them, but play and win on third down. So it's a little surprising. I think obviously we can't count out the multiple wide receiver injuries leading to this style of play, but I also am not surprised if you look at Patrick Mahomes' maturity as a player. Listening to Tom Brady's interview with him a couple weeks back, just listening to other guys around the NFL talk about it, this is a guy that understands all the aspects of football now and how to win in all these different ways. No, I'm not surprised they are finding whatever way works for them, and it just so happens to be a downhill rushing attack right now, which is kind of funny to say about Andy Reid.
Yeah, it's funny. Tom Brady on with Colin Cowherd this week, not in so many words, essentially said, bleep your stats, all right, when talking about Mahomes as how he's playing at an MVP level or if he should be in the conversation, was essentially I know quarterback play. I've seen the games. F your stats. All right. If that's what you're looking at and talking about Patrick Mahomes, I don't think that's specifically what he said, but that is what he was saying. Matt Lane is our guest. DeAndre Hopkins, game number 2. How much better or level of expectation is he playing at in just his 8 quarters of football and an overtime period with the Chiefs versus maybe what's your expectation? What you thought maybe would happen?
So my biggest change, and I guess the expectation, was how much better he looks as just an athlete or moving on the football field, right? So when you watched DeAndre Hopkins with the Titans earlier this year, it looked like a guy that was maybe a little labored in some of his movements. And I don't say he's playing bad or have given up, but it seemed like he was not moving the same as he did even the year before with the Titans, or especially the way he did with the Cardinals. And, he's dealing with this MCL tear that he didn't get repaired this offseason because he wouldn't be ready in time for the season. And you're wondering if age and injuries are starting to add up. Well, now you get him with the Chiefs now, and I think we've got enough sample size. He looks really good. Maybe it's not necessarily related to this injury or anything, age or anything like that. He could have just been in a situation that wasn't pulling out that kind of, I don't want to say effort, but that kind of extra effort every single play to go out there and do that. Because you watch him now, he looks really good. He's moving well. He's obviously not the same athlete he ever was, but all those skills are all still there to beat man coverage, to beat press coverage, to make the plays on the ball that he needs to when he needs to.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Last one for you, Matt. What do you think happens this weekend against the Denver Broncos here at Arrowhead Stadium at noon? That line has gone from Chiefs -9 to now Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites. What do you think happens?
It's unfortunate. It's hard to say a division rival, especially one that beat you last year, is going to be a trap game. So it's not a trap game per se, but it's a short week. You got the Bills coming up next week after this. That's a team that the Chiefs have played a lot. That's another rivalry going on. So, again, not a trap game, but it's a game sandwiched in a tricky spot for the Chiefs. So I expect it to be a game that they want to just get it over with pretty quick. They're going to come in. They'll be, energized. They'll be ready to go. But they're going to want to, get it over fast, show as little as possible to win. And when the Chiefs do that, they play really sloppy football games. They play games that are just very much dragging through the mud. Neither side looks like they are playing good football. So I expect it to look like that. It's going to be close. It's going to probably come down to the late fourth quarter yet again. The Chiefs will look better the entire game, but then we're going to look up and say, hey, why is this a 6-point game? Why is this a 3-point game? So I think Chiefs win 23-20, but we don't come away from it necessarily feeling as good as we had these last couple weeks where it felt like they were kind of starting to round into form.
Yeah, and then next week people can say they're the worst 9-0 team they've ever seen. So
yeah, that's just going to continue.
Yeah, just keep going. This was the worst 20-0 team I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a team 20-0 win the Super Bowl for the third straight year and be this fraudulent. Ridiculous.
I guess that's a fact. I mean, yeah, you haven't seen a better team or a worse team do that.
No doubt. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network. Matt, you are the man. Appreciate it, sir. Enjoy the football. We'll talk in a couple of weeks, brother.
Thank you for having me on. Go Chiefs.
Absolutely. There's Matt Lane, a.k.a. John Dutton. John Dutton of Chiefs Media is Matt Lane. Just out there on his piece of land, dealing with the animals, dealing with the.
Well, they're trying to take his land as well, so he's got to fight off against out of towners.
That's a good point. We were going to have him on at 11 o'clock, and he had an animal emergency on his land that he had some stuff to do, and he had to John Dutton that stuff, and we wait for the second segment with Matt Lane. But great stuff from him. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be Steve Spagnuolo, Dave Tobe, Matt Nagy, Chris Jones, and Nick Bolton at the podium today. More Zone next. Matt Nagy, Nick Bolton, and Chris Jones today at the podium. There was a question that I was wondering with Steve Spagnuolo on Tuesday for some reason. I can't remember what it was. That I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll hear that from Steve Spagnuolo on Thursday. But I don't know. Something with the defense. I don't know. I don't know. That's falls down a well, eyes go across, gets kicked by a mule.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm not sure what it is. I looked at the clock today, so I know it's morning. It's we've got a couple of minutes, but looking forward to the Broncos. And with that, I'll just open it up for questions. So that'll come our way about 12 minutes from now. About 11:58. Anywhere from 11:58 to 12:02. And I think they do that on purpose, and I'm glad that they do that on purpose, because what I want, Dylan, is after Dave Tobe, I just want the room turned up and on, just where everybody can hear the room, so that even as Sterling and I are talking, then we will hear Spagnuolo come in, and we will get the very beginning of a good morning, good afternoon of a Steve Spagnuolo. We are going to hear that today to see if he knows what time it is.
That's my holy grail today.
There you go. Today.
That is.
We can just keep it up and on, all right? We'll have to listen closely for people that may or may not be cussing. Hopefully that's not the case. But here's Dave Tobe.
Missed you guys last week. Yeah. Vacation.
Hey, Dave, Peyton Hendershot, was that guy, when you guys traded for him, you had your eye on just for special teams and what he could do?
Yeah, he was a good player at Dallas. I talked to Fossil down there, and he called me immediately as soon as we traded for him. He said, "You got my guy." He does a good job. He can run, and he does a good job. He's real physical. He understands. He has good instincts, and he helped us in that game. He was able to step in on a short. Obviously when he got hurt, he get on a short notice, and was able to be a three-phase player for us in that game. So it helped.
Looks like you tried a landing zone kickoff.
We did. Yeah. Didn't work.
How come?
How come? We had missed tackles. We got held a little bit, but you can't complain about that. That happens every kickoff. So, we thought we could maybe get him inside the 25. We wouldn't have tried it if we didn't think we could do it. It got out on us, and we have to be better.
The kick was what you wanted to do.
The kick was perfect. It was inside the 5, and because Bucker could kick a touchback at will. So when he does put it in there, it's on purpose. He put it inside the 5 directionally. We just didn't make the play.
On the other end of it, you call it a 30-yard.
Yes, 33. Who's counting?
What did you see on that?
It was a good job by him. We blocked it up pretty good. We doubled down the gunners. We got 6 guys in the box. We got a good punt. He set it up really well, and then bounced it out to the wall. And once we got to the wall, he was able to, use his speed and get out. Unfortunately, that's where he got hit and landed on his shoulder. But he was able to come back in the game. I mean, he toughed it out and came back. And this says a lot about him.
Who would have been next in your career?
Xavier was ready to roll.
Okay.
And he was excited about it. And a couple times I might have had 2 shots there where we were getting ready for punt return, and then they got the first down.
Yeah.
So he was excited for the opportunity.
Cole is a pretty tough guy. I mean, he's
Yeah.
shown that over the years.
Yeah, he
What's
has.
that say about him to want to come back there in that game?
Yeah, he did everything he needed to do to get back. He was in a lot of pain. I mean, obviously, he worked well with our trainers. Whatever they got him back in, be able to come back in the game, and it says a lot about his toughness and what he's willing to do, for a football team, later in his career. So it's pretty good.
Dave, I know we're basically at the midway point of the season. Any trends that you're noticing that sort of jump out to you that could play a bigger role in the second half?
Well, with the kickoff stuff, still the average yard starts right around 29-30, so there's no benefit either way. I don't think. I mean, I don't. You got to pick your spots. Obviously, we didn't pick a good spot last week, but I mean, you got to pick your spots to kick it to them. I still think that's holding true right now. It hasn't really changed midway through the season, and we see what we're getting now. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any surprises now. From this point on.
Are you seeing lots of different ways that other teams? I mean, you guys have whatever indicators you have if you're going to try to kick it short. How many different ways are people lining up that you have to study on?
It's that's what I'm saying. I mean, by now we've seen what everybody's doing. We've seen unbalanced. We've seen balanced looks. We've seen all kinds of crazy kicks. The thing that I thought, to be honest with you, I thought that there would be more of would be trying to spike the ball through the zone to get it out of the back of the end zone. But the returners are so good with 2 returners back there, you can't do that as much as I thought you'd be able to. Bucker did it in the last week. He got one in there, but it's hard to do. And the problem is if they get the ball in their hand, when you try to spike it and they get it quickly, they're going to get the ball at least to the 30, and that's the problem. So.
Couple more.
Is Justin Reed still an option if you?
For his kicker, yeah, he practices every week, and this is the week. He wants to do it badly, so we'll pick a spot, and when he does it, when he's back there, we're going to spike it. We're kicking it to him. He's not going to kick a touchback when he's in there, so you can expect that.
A little scouting report on the Broncos. What are they?
Oh man, they're really good, and I'm not just. I mean, this is real. They are probably top 5 unit right now. As it is right now, statistically. You put on a tape, and it doesn't. They got our attention right away. They fly around. The returner Mims is probably the best guy we faced all year. Punter Riley Dixon moves the ball well. Kicker Lutz is doing a great job. I mean, well coached. Ben Kotwicka is probably. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. So we got our hands full. They're built. To dominate on special teams. They got a few of our ex-players too. They got Tremont Smith. And who else they got? They got somebody else. They got Burton. Burton. I can't forget about Burton. I mean, true. He's a great player. So yeah.
Last
Good.
one, anyone? Coach.
Yep.
All right, there's Dave Tobe. And in the background, we'll hear a little bit of the room because we're going to hear Steve Spagnuolo walk in. You can hear this is how the sausage is made. This is what Dylan hears when he turns it down and he listens in. He's like, oh, the guys are coming into the room. But Dave Tobe, excited about having Peyton Hendershot on special teams. Apparently Jim Fossil called him and said, hey, you got my guy. You got my guy, Peyton Hendershot. Is he walking in? Is anything happening with the Spags? Okay, maybe. I do want to remind you, you're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. Xavier Worthy was ready to go if McCole Hardman could not return punts.
Yeah, that Dave Tobe actually had a lot of interesting insights. The Xavier Worthy, the Justin
Reed could be kicking this weekend.
Says he works at it every single week.
And this weekend? Yeah. So any particular reason? And then he went into just how good Denver is on special teams. They're really good, probably a top 5 unit. In returning.
How's everybody doing?
Here we go.
You're all quiet today. I didn't think I'd get much response. So listen, it's a quick week coming off a Monday night game. Hopefully we get plenty of rest and get ready to play on Sunday. Nice to have a noontime game with a little sunlight out. So we're looking forward to that, and AFC West divisional game. So we're pretty fired up about that. With that, I'll open it up.
Coach, how did you feel Josh Williams did with the stats?
Solid job. We got some things we got to work on. I think if you asked all the guys, I don't know, maybe you've spoken to them, but listen, the most important thing is we won the game. Nobody felt good about the way it ended defensively. The last thing we want to do is put the offense back out there, go to overtime, the whole thing. So that part was disappointing, and quite frankly, we need to get better there because in the last 3 games, the other 2 games were 2 possessions, a little bit different, but this one stung a little bit, and we hope to improve there. But getting back to your original question, I thought Josh was solid. There's some things we got to get better, and we'll see where we go from here.
So you have any characteristics of what happened on that last drive?
I can't put my finger on anything. I've gone through the last 3 to see if there's anything, consistent. You got to make a play here or there. I think we missed a sack on one. We got a couple of mental errors that we addressed, and that can't happen in a 2-minute because it's too important. And I give them. Listen, I give Baker Mayfield did a really good job, so I give them a little bit of credit too. But we wanted to find a way to keep them out of the end zone and win the game in regulation instead of overtime.
Steve, obviously you guys are looking forward. You're reporting on to the next game. But when you think about where you guys are now, what traits stand out to you about week to week, finding all these different ways to win? How these games look. What is it that drives that?
The head coach drives it first, then the quarterback. Then hopefully the defense is factored in there somewhere. It's funny. You asked the question, and I don't know. Maybe this is a fault. I don't know. But I'm kind of like so here that sometimes I'm unaware that we're winning games like we're winning them. Because all I'm really concerned about is not letting them score points. give our team a chance to win. But yeah, it's, we found ways ahead, behind, overtime, field goals, touchdowns, and I think it's a credit to the guys in the locker room, character of those guys.
The culture, is that another way to put it?
Yeah, no question. I mean, what Coach Reed has built here through Brett Veach and everybody that we have, you can list all the names, right? And the continuity of having a lot of the same people together from, myself to assistant coaches, I think that's huge. I think that goes unnoticed, and I think that's as important as anything.
New quarterback, what do you see out of Bo Nix?
When are we going to get one that's not so good? Boy, for a rookie, he has a command. I went back and watched the first game he played in, and I thought Sean had him doing things that, sometimes you say, do you have a rookie do it in the first game that he plays? But yet there he is doing it. I just think he's gotten better every week. He looks more comfortable. You guys see it. It's another athletic quarterback, and I think those guys are always headaches because there's certain things you can and can't do because you're afraid that he's going to make you look bad with his feet, and he can do that. And I think he's getting. Listen, the guy can throw the football. There's no doubt about that. They got themselves a good one.
He's played a lot of football, though.
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference on rookies that have played that much college football?
It's a really good point. I hadn't really thought of it that way because to me it's like first year in the NFL, right? Yeah, but he's 24-something years old, right? You can see maturity in him when he's playing, just around his guys and the way he's communicating pre-snap. I mean, they function in a no huddle, or what we call a muddle huddle, quite a bit. That's not always easy for a young guy to do, and yet he's doing it pretty good.
Steve, what are the challenges when your cornerback room is as injured as
Yeah,
right now?
I mean, you don't want any one position to get dinged like that, and that's as important a position as there is in football, in my opinion. So, the next guy's got to step in there. Josh did it last week. We'll see where Nazi is at the end of the week. Keith Taylor's been, he's another guy that we may have to get in there, and we got to mix and match him somehow, try to keep the other guys healthy because we can't afford another injury back there.
Coach, in the context of opposing tight end production, is there somewhat of a correlation sometimes of avoiding explosives that you have to kind of give up something?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before about tight ends. I mean, if on first and second down you're doing something special to take away a tight end, you're weakening your run defense and, or possibly what you're covering outside. So you pick and choose who you want to actually commit people to take away. Now, if you can get them in downs that favor us, the longer third downs, that's a little bit different. But we've faced some good ones. The guy last week did a really good job. They don't feature their tight end here as much, but he's a good football player. They got a couple of them. It's not like we neglect the tight end. We'd like to play better against them, but we want to make sure we're solid all the way across the board.
Nick.
Steve, I know you wrote a note on a unique photo recently for Piper. What made you want to do that? Are you going to take her up on the playing D line for you back?
Porter Ellett stuff.
Oh, yeah. I love that little girl. Have you ever seen her get in the stance? Yeah. She's great. And Porter, I love Porter. So for those of you that don't know Porter's daughter, Piper, he sent me, Porter goes and watches, she plays soccer. I think she plays field hockey, and she plays flag football. But she's an athlete, so I sent her it was a picture of her because Porter gave it to me, and I wrote a note that someday she'll be playing defense, for us. She was great. She sent another note. I got it hanging in my office. She's a doll. I love it.
Steve, what are your thoughts about Josh Uche and how he did the other night?
Uche? Listen, we were hoping to get, a few more snaps in there. It didn't work out that way. I think the snaps for Josh will go up. Look, you guys know this, in 3 days it's kind of hard to pick up any system, so we kind of fed, a little at a time. Joe's feeding them more. We just got through a walkthrough. We're in the first, second, and third down today. We got everything, so hopefully we can build on what we did last week.
Last one, anyone? Thanks, Coach.
Warm out.
Thank you, Spags. Steve Spagnuolo. We'll hear from Matt Nagy, Chris Jones, Nick Bolton. Interesting. I remember what it was that I was talking about on Tuesday is that maybe Spags will weigh in on it, and that was the final drive for the Buccaneers when they scored there at the end of regulation. Malik Herring was out there almost the whole time. And it's
Yeah.
like, any particular reason why? Like, you got Joshua Uche. Like, I feel like this should be, hey, there's snap, go get quarterback. Like, that's kind of what he's there for. But said that they wanted to get more from him and get him more involved. It just sort of whatever didn't work that way. But they'll build on it and going through walkthroughs and everything and still getting him more and more ready to go for this week. So and they're going up against Bo Nix.
Yeah.
When are they not going to face a good quarterback? I'd say
Well,
Raiders, but I mean, when they not face a good quarterback.
They're so anti-smack talk.
I know, dude.
Like, it's incredible.
Without Willie Gay and Nate B. Katie to ask questions in the locker room, what are we doing here? We get no smack talk? No Nate B. Katie just asking Willie Gay a benign question and him somehow presenting some.
When was this? I don't remember this.
Like like when they would play Cincinnati every game. Somehow it would be Willie Gay would say, like, we're not going to talk smack to them. It's not what we do. But they don't have an offense that we would need to worry about. But we're just, we'll worry about them. I'm like, well, hold on. Hold on, Willie. What did you just say there?
No disrespect, but I'm going to disrespect.
I said with all due respect.
Yeah.
I already said with all due respect. Therefore, you cannot take offense to this. I said with all due respect, you're a terrible team. I said that. I said with all due respect. But Bo Nix, we'll see what it is interesting. He said there are things that we can't do against him because he'll make you pay with his legs. So I wonder what that may be. Like, do you a more of an all-out blitz and you play, cover one? So, all right, if he escapes there, you've got everybody in man-to-man down the field, and you've brought a decent portion of your guys, and now he's a runner, and so he's out and he's running. And, does it take that away from the Chiefs that you can't do it because he can make you pay with his legs? Oftentimes, if you got a running quarterback, you don't necessarily want to be in man-to-man down the field so that, that quarterback is just seeing nothing but the back jersey, nothing but nameplates on the defense and running. That's positive for them. So I don't know what that may be, but that was interesting to hear Spagnuolo say that Bo Nix specifically, he'll present things that we can't do because he'll beat you with his legs.
Yeah.
So we'll
he's
see.
been a good runner.
I mean, he's got over
all
200
season
yards
long.
rushing in 5 games.
He's been a very effective. I was going to try and see it game.
He's like
by
Michael
game.
Vick, I would say.
He's got a really good coach.
He's got a great coach. Great coach. He reminds me a lot of Michael Vick.
Okay.
Just in his playing style. He's very, very Vickish. Pat Vick. We're going to hear from Chris Jones. Pat Vick. Nagy.
The success on third down all season, but really these last 3 games. What are some of the keys to that, and especially when you're not an explosive team, the importance of converting third down?
Yeah, it's very important. Probably just staying ahead of the sticks first, second down, and it always goes to that. That's kind of the common sense answer. But then also, there's been some stuff with Pat using his legs. Conceptually, if something's not there, I think he does a good job of eyes down, and then how can I make something happen with my feet, and then almost like you see, whether it's first, second, third down. He also now entices the defense. They got to stop him, and now he does a good job of still kind of playing that go, throw, or go type deal with the line of scrimmage where you either go and run, you throw it, or all of a sudden they think you're going to do that, and then he runs and gets a first down. So it's a combination of all of that, but I'll go back to the start, first and second down, staying ahead of the sticks, and then eliminating penalties.
Similar, I guess, to that question, Pat has just looked more comfortable these past 2 weeks. What do you find has maybe led to some of that?
Well, I think that for Pat, I think it's something for him as far as like the run. You notice the last several weeks the run game has really been. I mean, we've been running the ball a lot. I feel like there's a little bit of an identity that's being created here as we get to the middle of the season. Sometimes that identity happens instantly, a couple weeks in. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I feel like maybe that's the case of not just for the offense, but for the team in general, of how we feel like we can win this year. And when you protect the football, you don't have turnovers, you don't have penalties on offense, and you score touchdowns like those 3 out of the last 4 drives we had last week. Football can be fun on offense, and you can score point, defense, etc. And I feel like we're really getting that identity.
Now, related to the point of identity, what's enabled you guys to be so adaptable? Some significant flux at skill positions and all that, and it seems like you're just always evolving.
Probably the mentality that Coach Reed has, no matter who it is. I say this and I mean it. He doesn't care and we don't care. Whoever's out there, we put it on us that we gotta stay together. We gotta do what's best for the players, whoever it is. We believe in those guys. We hope they believe in us. And then let's go stay positive and make things happen. And guys have done that. They've been able to step in. Some guys have had prior history that we know with Juju and Kareem. But there's other guys, too, that are going to have to step up. But they feel the belief, and Coach Reed has the belief in his players and coaches. We all feel that, and it's something that just organically grows.
And just with that, I mean, you're really not blowing anybody up, and it sort of doesn't matter. I mean, does it make you feel like, oh, we have so many different ways to win now? Is that been something that's come of this?
I think it has. I think for sure. I think it gives you an idea of knowing that the games that you go into, you have confidence and trust that no matter whether you're losing by a couple touchdowns, whether you're winning by a couple, and this game it's a one-score game in the end in the NFL. So how are you going to win? Is it defense? Is it via special teams? Or is it with offense in an overtime drive to win it and not give them the ball? Or is it a 4-minute drive to end the ball with victory formation? And so probably here, although it hasn't been the fantasy numbers on offense like we've talked about, it's well documented, the one thing is we're winning games, and I think we're learning how to win games different ways, and that's so important when you get down the road in other games.
Matt, looking back at the Tampa game, you guys weren't getting much done with the running game in the first half, and then that first possession, the second half was 3 and out, all passes. What told you at that point, okay, we can go back to the running game here, and we can make it work this time?
Well, yeah, I think stating the obvious is we went 3 and out with 3 passes, and so then I think naturally you just kind of go to, okay, let's get into running the ball a little bit, see what happens with the run game. And when we came back to the run game, we were getting some chunks, and we were getting, whether it's 4 or 8 yards, they were positive gains, which then opens up those pass plays. So I think it was probably a little bit of that. And then also it doesn't hurt either having those big O linemen come over to the sideline every now and then and let you know, hey, man, let's get this thing going. They want to put it on their shoulders. We love that too. So that happens a lot. You never want to see that change. But it was kind of that mode right then and there. I think we all felt like, okay, they even might know that we're going to run the ball, but they got to stop us.
On that front, when you're in a game like that and everything's happening, you guys are calling plays. What is there is there a little checks and balances where someone says, we haven't run the ball in a long time? How does that kind of work?
No, there's not checks and balances there's a feel to that, but I think one of the beautiful parts of our team, our players, and I'm speaking from the offensive side of the ball, is in moments where there might be a little bit of a struggle or a little bit of a pause or not pause, but a stall in the offense. What I love is when guys come to the sideline and they all want the ball. I think that's great. Whether it's O linemen want to run the ball or it's the running back wants to run the ball or wide receivers want to catch the ball, quarterback wants to throw the ball. There's a lot that goes on. But when you have guys that in those moments that want the ball, that's a good thing. And so when you get to those moments and then we go ahead and get some rhythm going, it can be pretty good because you get guys that really want to be out there and help us win different ways.
We talk about chemistry between the quarterback and the pass catchers, but in your offense, it's almost a triangle chemistry between Holmes, Hopkins, and Kelsey, and all between. How have you seen that be almost baked in with DeAndre and his experience? Does he seem to think the same way that Kelsey and Mahomes do?
Oh, for sure. There has been an instant synergy with Pat and DeAndre, instant, and sometimes those take a lot more for some guys than others. But he's come in here and has just picked up. And when I say that, I don't use the term lightly, but these guys are really. Pat and D-Hop are really thinking the same way on certain routes, especially in zone, which is crazy because it doesn't normally always happen like that. It normally takes time. But from the first really second practice till our last game, there's some stuff in there that they're putting on tape that makes it tough, especially when you put Kels on the same side or other side that thinks the same way as long as him and Pat have been doing it. That's tough. And then you get the run game going and these guys are seeing it, and even J. Watt, right? J. Watt had a great play on third down, a couple great plays on third down where he's getting open in zone. And so it's really neat to see when guys are thinking like Pat. And for D-Hop, he's been doing it a long time, and it's been instant with him.
Last one, Todd.
Broncos defense looks like they're playing really well. What are the biggest challenges they're going to have for you?
Well, I mean, I go back to, the last couple of years, but specifically last year. I mean, they had that rough game against the Dolphins where they gave up a bunch of points, but they came right on back, and Coach Joseph does a heck of a job schematically. He's familiar with what we do, but those players play hard, and they know the scheme. They don't do a lot of crazy stuff, but they do what they do really well. I think, you look at the numbers statistically. Again, Baltimore, got after them in certain ways, different things that they did, but that defense plays hard and they play fast, and so it's a division game. These teams know a little bit about you, so it'll be a strap it up and a fist fight in the backyard.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, hopefully it's not a fist fight in the backyard. Hopefully it results in them having a relatively easy win. Don't get banged up and get ready for Buffalo next weekend. Bills are on the road at Indianapolis. I don't think their offense will have as much of a fist fight against the Colts defense as the Chiefs may against the Denver Broncos defense. Broncos defense very good, very tough, physical, and they're playing well. So we'll see what they end up doing. Here is somebody who's tough and physical playing well. It's Nick Bolton.
Tape as you've watched him through this rookie year, about halfway through it now.
Yeah, he's definitely improved since every game he's been in this league. I think they do a good job of mixing things up for him, especially on first down, kind of staying ahead of sticks and kind of some movement passes, get him out the pocket, let him use his assets, what his strengths are. I think they're great. Good on the O-line's good as well, especially the interior guys. I think they do a great job of creating push and keeping him clean and he escapes out the backside and uses his speed.
Coach talked about the last series defensively that you guys had against Tampa. Can you talk about that series and what do you guys take from giving up that touchdown?
Yeah, I think it's been the last 3 games we've had. We gave up a touchdown. We ended up 2 scores. I think a year ago we were a lot better in those situations and just closing out games. And so we understand that if we want to be able to aim goal, we got to be able to close out games, put teams away. Leaving a lot out there to chance with onside kicks and stuff like that. They don't have to be there. So I think it's something we've got to harp on now. Definitely Coach Spags has been on it, and we got such an urgency for it.
Anybody else?
Nick, you guys have been really successful this year against the run on a week-by-week basis. What do you think goes into that?
Yeah, I think it stops up front. I think Coach Spags gives us a great opportunity to kind of mix up fronts, give them different looks. We don't really sit in the same fronts and let them get a key on what we got or what their run schemes are going to be. We kind of mix it up, run some pressures, put Chris different places and kind of causes confusion a little bit too. But yeah, I think that kind of all that stuff goes into having good run defense, and then obviously guys turn off blocks, and my DBs are making tackles when we need them to, and it helps.
In this case, on 33 Williams, what's unique about it?
Yeah, man, I think kind of like me, he's a shorter guy, and so center to gravity, pad level. He likes to finish runs and uses his leverage to his advantage. And so it's definitely going to be one of those games where you got to kill the engine. That's how we say it. Hit him below the legs and kind of stop his legs from moving. It's going to be gang tackling. We're going to need a lot of pursuit.
Nate, last one.
I asked Steve about this a little bit earlier, a few weeks ago, Nick. Being the Mike linebacker, obviously you kind of know where everyone is and what everybody's supposed to do. How long did it take you to get, I guess, comfortable with the idea that, like, okay, I tell the play call, everybody gets lined up, and then Chris goes outside the inside or outside the inside, within a matter of the offense sort of setting up its formation?
Yeah, I think probably took me to about at least halfway through my second year. Really just feeling comfortable, him moving around, still making sure that we can get guys who are dropping to be in the right positions, or guys who have different stunts, or making sure guys basically get the rush right. So it took me probably about 8 games into my second year. I was kind of feeling comfortable I can get everybody aligned, and I think now we're rolling. I think the best thing about it is you got guys around him that are smart, understanding what he's trying to do from looking at the tape and communicating with them, and ever just playing around them. I think that kind of helps him get one-on-one rushes and generation pressures.
Is there a moment where you said, "Oh, he's doing that," and then in your mind you're like, "Oh, that actually might work"?
Yeah.
What's that process like? Where you sort of see that example play out?
Yeah, the Cincinnati game when we went to the Super Bowl, we played the Eagles. He lined up inside, last second, bumped Carlos down, went out the outside rush in the game. Went to the Super Bowl. So obviously we know it works. We got to find ways to give him opportunities, and if it fits the defense and we can do it, we're definitely going to.
If you could relive that, what was your thought in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know what he was doing at first. Based on what we had, we haven't really done that all week, but it wasn't really compromising the scheme or anything. But he said he saw something he saw on tape that he think he could take advantage of. So he lined up outside, man, and he hit him with a speed rush, knocked his hands down, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris is right behind him.
All right, so we'll hear from Chris Jones pretty quickly, maybe about that actual game and the AFC Championship game. Was it Karlaftis or was it Minahu? I thought it was Minahu that he dropped down inside to play that left defensive tackle spot, and Chris Jones went to the left defensive end and then beat the left tackle for that sack on Joe Burrow. I could be wrong. He said, I mean, Nick Bolton can picture it probably better than I, but yeah, that's
he's right behind those guys.
Exactly. I mean, that was a huge play. But it's funny. It's like, what is he doing? We haven't practiced this. We haven't done this. Why is he bumping this guy inside and he's going around the edge? Like, what? And then you know, Chris, and then Chris Jones did Chris Jones things. He Chris Jones'd it.
I just like when Chris Jones points out who he wants to go up against. I love that.
I'll take this guy. I get this guy right there. You know, I'm
like
good.
in basketball, you know, you're like, yeah, I want that guy. I'm going to cook you.
That's right.
That's what Chris Jones does, though.
Yeah. Oh, it was Dunlap that he slid inside, not Minahu.
Yeah.
Because that was 2 years ago. Minahu was on the team last year. It was Dunlap that was playing right next to Chris Jones, right to Chris Jones's right. So he slides Dunlap inside. And then Nick Bolton's going, what is he doing? Hold on, this is not what we worked on. I got this. I'm going to get this sack. I'm in this game. And Burrowhead. All right, let's take a timeout. We thought Chris was going to be right around the corner, told that maybe it could be a little bit. So we will hear from Chris Jones on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, welcome back here in the zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up at 1 o'clock, we got Sports or Leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. We'll give away $25 to Johnny's Tavern in the 1 o'clock hour with Sports or Leisure. We have heard from Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and Nick Bolton, and told that Chris Jones is close to the podium and in the room. And all right, here we go. Here is Chris Jones.
What do you see from him on tape as he's kind of gone through this year?
I think he's progressing. Been a fan of his since he was at Auburn and he went to Oregon. SEC guy through and through. Huge fan of his, man. How he plays the game. Has the ability to escape the pocket. Can make all the throws. But he's progressing. To be a young quarterback, he's progressing fast.
They do a little design run stuff with him sometimes too, right? Is that a challenge you guys don't usually see every week?
Yeah. Similar to Josh Allen. I don't think he has like big play moments of Josh Allen, but he's very comparable in a lot of things he does in the scheme they're running with him, whether it's getting him in open field, keeping the ball in his hands on certain downs and distance, and giving him the ability to play with instinct. So I think it's for us to prepare, making sure we're able to keep him in the pocket and get after him.
Chris, these last 3 weeks with Mike out, Felix got 30-plus snaps in each game. What did you see from him in this run, as Mike kind of gets back into the mix?
I think Phil is moving in the direction we want him to. We got a lot of high hopes for Felix. We knew coming into training camp, his snap count was going to come up after last year, and I think he's been answering the call well, especially with us having some guys down because of injury.
Chris, of course, we're thinking about Denver now, but when you think about what it is that's allowed you guys to keep winning and win in so many different ways, what do you think are the couple, 3 traits that make that?
Playing fundamentally sound, playing together, making sure we're relying on each other. I don't think it's a one-man suit on this team. I think collectively it takes 11 guys, 11 guys buying in, doing their job to the best ability, and that put us in a possibility to win. So I think we continue to do that week in and week out and continue to put ourselves in good position to win a game.
And I'm sure that's all about culture in some ways. When you think of the culture of this team or describe the culture of this team, how do you define it?
I think it go hand in hand, cultural and also players. Every culture don't have a Pat Mahomes. Every culture don't have a Travis Kelce. So when you say cultural, man, you got to talk about players too. It go hand in hand. But when you think about the culture of it, it's like it's a team-friendly type of culture, man. Everybody is happy-go-lucky around here. Everybody is excited to be in the building. I think this is a place and a space where we enjoy coming into. I've heard different stories about other organizations, and it's exciting to come in the building and work for this organization every morning. So,
Chris, when you've got maybe that split second, particularly third downs, when you're deciding where to line up, kick outside, whatever it may be, how many factors are going through your mind? What are your different considerations?
Whether I'm getting the slide, the game, how much I'm getting the slide, whether it's the best lineup, the best matchup that I can feel like I can win immediately, and also the play calling. I just don't do my own thing.
When in your career did you kind of begin they let you have the ability to do those things?
When Spags allowed me to.
When was that? Was there a moment where he's like, I know what you're doing?
Spags might beg to differ. I think it's a accountability thing between me and Spags. We have a lot of interpersonal meetings amongst us before the game and leading up to the game, and what I'm comfortable with, what he's comfortable with, and certain schemes and certain play callings, I'm able to exercise my rights and go outside or go inside, depending on what play or what formation they show. And sometimes I overdo it at times, It's like taking a blitz. It's like a calculated risk, right? I take a lot of calculated risk, so high reward or no reward. So it's a catch-22.
Couple
Chris, was
more.
there a period of time where you were trying to negotiate the point with Spags and he was just, nah? I mean, how did that process go?
We're still trying to negotiate. We're still in the process and that point of still negotiating. He's stubborn. He's very stubborn, but we're slowly easing him up to agree to a lot of different things he's not comfortable with. It's a work in progress.
Has there ever been a time where you went back to the sideline and he looked at you like, what was that? Or you've been like, hey, I thought I really had this part. Like, has there ever been a time like that?
It's been multiple times. Well, like I told Spags, just like you blitz, right? You seen something on film that you thought was there, and like a blitz that doesn't get there. You seen something that made you want to blitz, right? So I seen something on film that made me want to line up in a 9 technique when I was supposed to have been in a 3, okay?
Last one, Nick.
Yeah, Chris, for you talking about Steve as a coordinator, but what is he like as a person off the field? Because I know you guys have had dinner sometimes, and his wife will make him food and stuff like that.
His wife can cook like the best Italian food, okay? Oh my God, her Italian food. She makes a really good meatloaf also. Shout out to Miss Spags. She's amazing. She do so much for this defense that unspoken for, and she doesn't get her flowers. I'm here to give her flowers. But Spags is a heck of a guy. You know, one thing about it, he loves his wife, and he reminds us of it every day. He's very lucky to have her. And he's a man of God. He leads by faith. And he has his favorites, you know. Like Nick Bolton is his favorite. I'm probably his fifth favorite, close to last, but it's okay. No, Spags is a great guy, man. Spags is a great guy. That's my guy. That's my guy. When you talk about, you have certain guys in the building where you can depend on them for anything. Spags is one of those guys. Prime example, Mike Pennell. Don't mean to tell Mike business, but it's on Twitter, okay? It's not fake news. Mike got his car stolen this week, right? So I went and told Spags. I wasn't letting Mike my car. I said, Spags, Mike got his car stolen. And Spags asked him, you want to use my car? Just what type of guy he is. I told Spags, thank you for lending him your car because I can't afford to lend him mine. I only have one. Y'all have a beautiful day.
There's Chris Jones. We got happy-go-lucky Chris Jones today.
Fun one.
And yeah, I understand that with Chris Jones. He can't afford to lend Mike Pennell his car. So Steve Spagnuolo offered Mike Pennell his car to drive around. Yeah, I get it. Chris Jones probably cannot afford.
Well, it's not like he signed a
new
contract
car.
or anything.
He can't. Dude's made $80
Everyone knows DCs make so much more than
$80 million. I can't afford to give
Dog,
you my
you
car,
could
Mike.
buy him a new
Come on.
car.
I
You
can't
could
afford
buy
to-
him a Rolls Royce.
Mike, I would love to help you out and have you use my car. I just can't afford it right now.
Dog,
you know?
just buy him a nice used Toyota Camry with like 40,000 miles on
Yeah.
it. You'll be fine.
Is there, I mean, look, we've talked about it with Steve Spagnuolo. Like, I don't know that there's a coach that we know about, you know, stories and things like that, that matches how good he is as a coach on the field, schematic-wise, coordinating with what the general consensus from those that know him feel about him off the field, away from the facility as a man and non-football related than Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
He seems to be just as great of a dude
And
as
Mrs.
he is a
Spags.
coach. Yeah, Mrs. Spags. Well, I thought he was going to go to the meatballs, right? Because it was
Yeah.
the meatballs a big story with Steve Spagnuolo's wife making the meatballs. And now it's the meatloaf.
That's a lot.
Ma, the meatloaf.
A lot of meat.
Yeah, the meatloaf. I never know what she's doing. What's Mrs. Spags doing? I never know what she's doing. Ma, the meatloaf.
Doesn't matter the form. If she got
That's
meat, it's
exactly
going
right.
to be a loaf or a ball. It's going to
Chris
be good.
Jones loving the meatloaf, the meatballs from Steve Spagnuolo's wife, Mrs. Spags, giving her flowers because she deserves that. And Spagnuolo, that is cool when he's talking about that Spags loves his wife, and he tells us all the time about how much he loves his wife and there. So, man, that was fun listening to the conversations that he and Steve Spagnuolo have about moving around on the defensive line and sort of picking and choosing. Is he getting a slide? The game flow, what the matchup is, play calling, and he said, "I don't just do it on my own. I don't just do my own thing." That's it. I don't just do my own thing. And he said about Steve Spagnuolo and him that there's a comfort with me and Spags. We meet before games. There'll be certain plays and schemes that I'm able to exercise my rights. And he said, I take calculated risks with when he does that. And then asked about, well, how often is that? Is he more comfortable with that now than he was before? He said, we're still in negotiating the freedom. We're still negotiating. He's stubborn. And then said, have there been times where you've done this and you come over the sideline and Steve Spagnuolo was like, what are you doing? He said, oh, multiple times. But I just tell him, you blitz. You see things on film that you think it's a calculated risk to go and blitz. I do the same thing. Should I have lined up in a 3? Well, that's what the play call said. But I lined up in a 9 because something I saw on film is why I did that, okay? Yeah. And did it work out? It was a calculated risk is what it was. All right, there's Chris Jones. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Coming up, Sports or Leisure in the 1 o'clock hour. More Zone next. 913-912-4810. Heard from Chris Jones. Hey, Dylan, can we play a clip right quick? This was from the New Heights podcast that came out yesterday, and they talked about the Monday night game. And one of the things that came up in the New Heights podcast discussion with Jason and Travis was Todd Bowles' decision to kick the extra point or go to overtime. Here is Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce, talking about, as players, the coach choosing to kick the extra point in a game in which they ended up losing in overtime.
Todd Bowles elects to kick the PAT instead of going for 2. Is that the right call? Would you have done?
I would say this. Yeah, obviously, Coach Bowles, I told him afterwards, man, it is a fucking honor to go up and try and beat your football team every single time because, goddamn, your guys are always prepared. You always have a great understanding. And
All right, that was the unedited version. Okay, very good. That was the unedited version.
Oh, brother, I heard that, and I don't
play the edited version.
I don't have a dump button over here.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. Those that are listening on the phone don't have it if you're listening on the stream. So hopefully, if you were at work, that was turned down. But yeah,
I saw that.
But on the radio, you didn't hear it. So he likes Todd Bowles. He thinks he's a good coach to go up against him. He thinks he's a legend.
How hard of a decision was it, Jason?
They both would have gone for the 2-point conversion, you know?
That was very funny. But yeah, I mean, it's such a hard decision to make in that moment. It was cool to see both the Kelceys talk about it, which we'll the edited clip.
What I'll do is I'll actually save the right clip, which is the one that I edited and didn't save, as opposed to the original that I downloaded from there.
Well, you get one, right?
That's what I'll do.
You get one F-bomb. Is that what it is? Is that the FCC regulations? The
I
F
mean, if it
stands
goes
for
over
one?
the radio, we had the dump button. We dumped it. It's just not on the on the stream. We'll fix that in post.
If anyone saw my reaction on the camera to what I was doing, I
both were like, what?
I leaned back in my chair and was looking for something to press, and I have nothing to press over here on my side.
Yeah. As soon as I heard that part, I'm like, I saved the wrong one. Shut it off. Shut it off. Turn it off, man. Turn it off. It's sucking my will to live.
Wayne's World. I understood that reference.
Thank you. It certainly does suck. It sucks while it cuts. Stop it.
The suck cut.
Dylan, turn it off, man. Turn it off. Just press stop, man.
You know what? If you were president, you'd be President Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, man. Tex says, I always love when that happens. Doesn't happen often when you play a clip, though. That is true. Typically, I save the right one.
Yeah, that's what happens when you save the wrong one, or you
look. If you're listening on the stream, you heard it. If you're listening on the terrestrial radio, then hopefully you didn't hear it, and the dump button worked. I don't know. There's a lot of people running around doing some things here. I'm not sure, but like I said, they both would have gone for 2.
I needed that. That was fun.
That was
that makes your Thursday. You get on your toes when you hear that on the radio. You're just like, oh whoa.
We've had a fun hour. We've heard Chris Jones have some fun with he and Spag's relationship and ad-libbing or doing his own thing within the scheme and the play and watching film and what the other team is doing as well and finding matchups that work in his favor that he can exploit and take advantage of, while Steve Spagnuolo may not be completely and totally on board with each and every decision Chris Jones makes. So you heard that. Also that Nick Bolton is Steve Spagnuolo's favorite.
Yes.
And Chris Jones is his 5th least favorite. Not 5th favorite. I'm his 5th least favorite.
Yes. Which I want to know who now the 4 are behind him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. If he's
so
the
he's
5th
fifth.
least.
There are 4 guys that he does not like more than he doesn't like Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I doubt that he's the 5th least favorite.
Yeah, I would doubt that too. But Nick Bolton being his favorite totally checks out.
Oh yeah.
Totally checks out. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So therefore, you just got to sign him to a massive contract then, right? I'm just joking. It's not what they're going to do. They may sign him, but not a massive contract. We'll see.
He's been good.
Yes, for sure. But I also want to know what's the ranking then if Nick Bolton's his favorite.
Yeah.
Leo Chanel's second favorite.
I was going to say
I mean, Leo Chanel,
Justin Reed.
That's dumb.
Justin Reed is
of
probably
course.
2.
Justin Reed is the second favorite. Then Chanel. McDuffie's got to be up there.
McDuffie has to be up there.
Like, he loves the smart.
Yeah, he's
the smart player. So Reed, probably McDuffie.
Yeah.
And I know, and Chris Jones is really smart when it comes to football. He's obviously being self-deprecating.
Mike
and
Dana, maybe.
Yeah, Mike Dana. They brought him back.
I feel like Mike Dana could be a sneaky one.
Probably Drew Tranquil in there as well. He let Mike Pinnell have his car.
Yeah,
Mike
so Mike
Pinnell's car got
Pinnell
stolen,
has
so
to be
Pinnell
up there,
probably
yeah.
up there.
Good.
You know?
Well, so you're not going to say no to that guy. Let's be real. Mike Pinnell could ask me any question.
Well, he didn't ask.
Odds are, yeah.
Spags offered. Spags
Well,
like, well, you want to use my car? You can use my car.
That's a large human being. Do you think that the shocks though might be shot afterwards? Mike Pinnell sits down in the car. Just all of a sudden it's a lowrider now. I think that could be a real possibility. Like he sits in the back and sparks fly.
All right, so we have the indicted one. I believe we've got the school appropriate one. Kids, if you're listening, I apologize out there.
Wait,
but,
Pat McAfee can now all of a sudden do it. Why can't we?
Well, TV's got different rules than
radio.
We
We have higher standards.
Is that right? Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes. All right, let's hear Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce talking about the decision. I'm not even going to tell you what they think if they should have kicked the extra point or gone for 2. I bet you guys figure that out on your own.
I will say I hope every single one's out because that dump button you get the seconds it's
go.
not recuperated yet.
We're close.
We're
back. We're back ready
We're
to
back?
go.
Okay.
We got some more dumps to have, man. We got lots of dumps ready to go. More. Here's Jason and Travis.
Todd Bowles elects to kick the PAT instead of going for 2. Is that the right call? Would you have done?
I would say this. Yeah, obviously, Coach Bowles, I told him afterwards, man, it is a honor to go up and try and beat your football team every single time because, damn, your guys are always prepared. You always have a great understanding, and you guys always mold the defense based off of which opponent you play. So you can't really get a lot of, like, I don't know, scheme up against them. You just got to kind of go out there and be at your best.
For sure.
And, man, I'll tell you what, I just think when you're in an away team, when you're at an away stadium, I feel like you go for it. I think at home, you got home field advantage. You got a lot more energy.
Momentum's on your side.
Yeah.
I think
try and end it right there instead of and especially with the overtime rules in the regular season where you're not guaranteed a possession if the other team scores a touchdown. You just know you don't know whether or not you're going to get that ball back.
I kind of agree with you, but I'll kind of back Todd up a little bit. I've been a part of this before. We scored Dougie P's first year. We're in Baltimore. We have a great late minute drive, and we elect to go for 2 to end the game.
Yeah.
And we definitely got a blitz 0, and we did not connect, and the game was over and we lost. So it's one of those decisions, like, it's 50-50. I think with Pat there in Arrowhead, let's just try and get it done. Let's not even give him a chance to get the ball back and really make something happen. But I kind of see both sides of it.
There you go. It's a lot of work to get that clip out there. So now we've done that, and you're welcome, America. There you go. Civic duty done.
Now kids' ears are now pure once more.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's right. So there you go. There's the New Heights clip. They both would have gone for it. They both would have gone for 2. Jason Kelce understands the other side because he lived through it when he was there with Dougie P's first year in Philadelphia. They scored a touchdown, went for 2, and they got a 0 look. So, they brought the house. And I guess they weren't ready for them to bring the house, and they did not convert, and the game was over.
Hey, well, now if they bring the house, D-Hop, just throw it up.
Now, right, absolutely.
If you're the Chiefs, at least.
If you're the Chiefs, yeah. But Tampa Bay doesn't have D-Hop or Evans or Godwin there. And I'm assuming Dougie P's first year, there was no A.J. Brown or Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that would have been
Wentz.
Nick Foles probably still.
It
could have been Wentz.
It could have been Wentz. Depending on the game, I mean, obviously. But yeah.
They were good offensively still.
There you go. They did not get it. He understands. But Travis Kelce's like, yeah, man, I'm going for that. I want my guy to go for that. And I think most of the Buccaneers players would have agreed as well. We'll take a timeout, come back, and continue rolling, we think. More Zone next. 1 o'clock. Tomorrow's Friday, Sterling. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I always know when it's Friday, baby.
My days have all been off this week because of Monday Night Football.
I
and,
thought today was
Tuesday
Wednesday.
No, me too.
It feels great.
Samesies. Tomorrow is Friday, not Thursday.
Oh, dude, I'm excited because tonight I'm going to do a little yoga, loosen the back up. It's been tight back, you don't want to have that.
Good for you.
And then Saturday, I'm going to golf in the morning.
Oh,
Sunday.
wow. How about that? You're golfing this weekend? How about that's a nice change for you?
Yeah.
Nice change for you to get out there and swing the wrenches. Haven't done that in a while, have you?
Sunday, though, I'm going to be Lebo at the Chiefs game.
Sunday. Oh, really? Because St. John said he was happy that nobody was going to be sitting in Lebo's seat this weekend.
Well, I'll have to shave my dome and go as Lebo, then I'll have to...
You should shave your head and go as Todd Lebo this week. You should have gone as Todd Lebo for Halloween.
That'd have been so good.
I'm going to go as Todd Lebo for Halloween next year.
I shave my head, no facial hair.
Dude, that's what we do as a show next year. We go as
bald
other
caps.
people in the station.
I already have our theme.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And I like it.
What's the theme?
Well, we can't tell you on the air.
Son of a...
We got to surprise people at 10 o'clock because if we tell people beforehand, they will steal it.
Wait, next Halloween.
Yeah, next Halloween.
It's a large enough theme to include other shows.
Yeah.
We have so far. I'm not going to remember. No one's going to remember.
Oh, they're going to remember. They've got it written down. They're waiting for our ideas. Are you kidding me? Are
We're
you
2 for 2.
freaking kidding me? Yeah, we've killed it the last 2 times.
1 for 1. I've only been here once.
All right.
Although, let me say my level of disappointment with my neighborhood and the area we live in and where we were trick-or-treating and going around to different houses, and then a Halloween sort of a neighborhood kind of get-together party with a lot of the adults and kids there too. My disappointment in nary a person looking and going, Peaky Blinders. Even to the fact of people going, what's that?
Are you serious?
Man, I was just so disappointed.
like, wow,
I had more
this guy
people.
just dressed
I had more
up.
people that were just like, "Did you come straight from work?" Or, "No, I typically don't wear this to work, but that's fine."
Shockingly, radio hosts don't wear three-piece suits.
I was so disappointed. Not one person was like, "Hey, Peaky Blinders." I'm like, "All right, whatever, dude."
Yeah.
So I felt
good
like
for you for staying at the party because I might have been like,
I felt very out of place because there was no other parent dressed up. And I'm like, well, that's okay.
I had that happen too.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I'm not, wearing a full clown suit. Well, maybe some people thought I was. I'm not sure.
I went to a
You
party.
were a Bengals fan.
That's right. I didn't get a clown suit put on me.
I had 2 parties that went back to back, and one of them was a KU K-State watch party and not a Halloween costume party, and that was the first party, unfortunately, that I went to. So I was Yukon Cornelius while everyone was dressed up normally.
Yes.
So it can be worse.
That's even better, though, dude.
No.
Did they know that you were Yukon Cornelius
They did. That
at
was
least?
actually, yes.
Good.
Thank God. I bet you were the life of the party, dude. I bet you killed it. I bet everybody's like, oh, that's so awesome. Dylan is
Well,
Yukon
KU
Cornelius.
kind of was doing all right, and there was a lot of K-State crowds, so they.
That's a good point.
It wasn't that fun.
Congrats
It
on
was
being
fun for me.
invited.
What about the Halloween dress-up party? What about the costume party?
That was fun, yes.
And did you kill it there? I mean,
I don't know.
Were you? Did you win?
I did better at the first party.
I'm just saying,
well, you didn't
humble
have any
brag.
No, that's
no
what I'm saying.
competition.
That's what I'm saying.
He was invited to not 1 but 2 parties. Let the record show that Dylan is a cool guy.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's already been,
That's been on the record
stipulated.
for a long
Yeah, we
time.
stipulated that like 7 years ago when I first met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely. I think we all are agreeing.
You met him 7 years ago?
In my mind, I have. Yeah,
Oh,
I've
okay.
kind of known him my whole life. I think. I feel
radio
like,
is that radio years?
feel
7
just
years, just like
kindred spirits.
Yeah, okay.
You
It's
know
like
what I
not
mean?
dog years, but kind of in between. It's like
brother from
3.5
another
years.
mother. Yeah, I feel like that's
Just
just
look alike. You're tall.
balding. He chooses. I don't. I've got a mullet. He's got a bald head. Totally
I don't
looking
think
like.
you're balding, Jason.
I know that was the joke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone
Really,
technically.
Sterling?
Well, that's my point. I'm like, yeah, you have a good head of hair for your
Seriously,
age, Jason.
I don't know who listens to me and thinks things are more literal, you or my 9-year-old son. Like, I'll say sarcastically to my son, and like, are you serious? I'm like,
Do you know
oh, that's right. That's I get it. You don't.
Do you know
nuance isn't there
sarcasm's
yet.
not in the dictionary? Well, I don't know if you got like hair plugs or I don't know. I don't know if when you get your shot for your T,
Yeah.
your testosterone,
Right.
maybe it grows your hair back. I
That's
don't know.
exactly right. That was a big one for me. Was I was apparently bald in
Those would be
January
no.
this year.
Balding and bald are 2 different things.
Those would be selling like hotcakes if that's how it works.
No kidding, man. It's already doing a number anyway.
My
I know,
hair
but-
can't get any more thick.
And 8:10, it is time for a little sports or leisure right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's presented by Johnny's Tavern, Kansas City's premier sports bar, 10 locations, Lawrence and Topeka. Johnny's Tavern, and the home for your Monday/day after a Chiefs game special there at Johnny's Tavern. So Monday, dine-in only. You'll get a specialty pizza, percentage off whatever the Chiefs score against the Denver Broncos. So you would have received 30% off on Tuesday. Yeah. From the game on Monday night.
That is a good deal.
We'll see if the Chiefs can get to 30, 40, 50. Who knows? Maybe they'll score enough points to where you could just get it for free.
Dog, I'm not going to lie.
That'd be great.
Even 10%, not
it's
bad.
Still 10%.
That's my point. Even if you score 10 points,
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'll take 10% off, yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think they scored 10 points. I got a good feeling about this one.
Bold, that limb might break.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But yes, Johnny's Tavern, 10 area locations. We give you $25 to Johnny's Tavern for getting a good sports question and a leisure question right. 913-381-810 is the phone number. Load them up first in, first on. Let's go through the categories here for sports or leisure on this Thursday. On the sports side, we have a general NFL category. We have a category with Chiefs and Broncos. These are players that played for both the Chiefs and the Broncos. Pretty self-explanatory, but you never know. And then we have the remaining and now added to Stay Gold, Pony Boy, the questions about Royals Gold Glove winners with some added questions that have come up since Bobby and Seth took home some hardware on Saturday. Those are the categories on the sports side. NFL, Chiefs and Broncos, and Stay Gold. What about on the leisure side? Sterling.
Since the Chiefs are playing the Broncos, we have which person looks like a horse?
Oh, right.
The answer is John Elway.
John Elway, there it is. That was the only question?
That was the only one.
You just get that question every time.
Yeah. No, seriously, we have sports nicknames. We're doing a comeback of sports nicknames.
Okay.
We're bringing back one of the ones I really enjoy,
Sexy.
which is one-hit wonders. We're bringing back one-hit wonders. And then we're going to do riddles because I think riddles are still fun. So we're doing riddles.
All right.
Riddles, one-hit wonders, sports nicknames.
I'll write it. We're doing riddles, okay?
We'll do it live.
We'll do riddles. I'll write. Those aren't even words. And now here's it from Sting on his latest album. Take it away. All right, I'm ready to go. Sterling, you ready to play?
Always.
Dylan, what say you, sir? Very good. Good enough.
He audibly sighed back there first. It was an audible sigh.
I would have preferred him just playing like the first 10 seconds of the New Heights clip unedited. Dylan, you ready to go today? Bloop. Bloop, bloop. All right, to the phone lines we go. We talk to and bring in Chuck, leading us off here on Sports Radio 810, Sports or Leisure. $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Chuck, what side would you like to start with, whatever it is? What are you thinking?
Let's start with horse faces. John Elway.
Wow, he is good. He's good. Chuck's
good.
That was the answer?
The Royals Gold Glove.
Oh, okay. All right. Darn it. I thought that was actually the answer. All right. Bobby Witt winning the Gold Glove. He is the third youngest Royal to ever win a Gold Glove. Name the two players younger than him that both won it the same year for the Royals. Ooh. Both these Royals won their first Gold Glove the same year, and both of them were younger than one Robert Witt II. Mr. Baseball, Bobby Baseball.
This is tough.
Bobby Baseball.
Ooh, I did not get it.
You didn't get it, Sterling? Oh, who are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking it was going to be almost a trick, and one was going to be Zach Greinke.
It's not.
I thought Zach Greinke would have done it when he was like 21 or something.
He didn't
like
win
that.
a Gold Glove with the Royals, though.
I know. That's my point, though. I thought because he's won 6.
Yeah, but not with the Royals.
Yeah, correct.
The Royals only have 2 pitching Gold Glove winners. A question we asked a couple of weeks ago that it was Saberhagen was the only one, now Lugo. So I don't have that question left, so I can say that they only have 2 pitching Gold Glove winners in Sabes and Lugs. Thess and Sabes. But these players won it the same year. and they were younger than Bobby Witt.
And Bobby's what, 24?
Mm-hmm.
So
it would have been
23 or younger, basically, both in the same. I think that narrows it down at least.
They've only had a few years where they've had multiple guys winning it. Yeah.
Wow, and it's not him either.
Who's him? I mean,
every
single NFL player?
No.
Every NBA player is
no,
him?
who's him is the typical defensive free space in Royals history.
Oh, it's not
Frank
Gordo.
White.
Or Frank.
Frank White.
Oh, I thought you were, okay.
I was going Frank White.
Right.
You know what? This is a good question because I have no idea.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're just eliminating all of them. So,
No, I
anybody
appreciate
else?
that. Thank you.
Chuck, anybody else in Royals history that you want Sterling to throw out?
I can throw more names out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you tell me if it was Salvador Perez or not? I'm pretty sure he won at like 23, but I'm not entirely positive on that. So if you want to help me out, I'd appreciate that.
I can't give you that answer.
He can't confirm nor
Okay,
deny.
I'm going to go with Salvi for one of them. He was like 23.
Salvi's one of them.
Salvi was 23.
Salvi is one of them.
And then I think that same, it was.
Yeah.
You got it now, Sterling?
Yeah, now I got it. That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Thanks.
I'm going to go with Haas. I think he won it. He was pretty young, like a rookie year, second year in the league, I think. We'll go Hosmer, I guess.
Hosmer is correct. Salvi and Hosmer
Oh,
both
wow.
won their first Gold Gloves together, and they were both the youngest players to win a Gold Glove in Royals history. Bobby Witt, now the third youngest player to win a Gold Glove in Royals history. Well done. Way to walk through it and have Sterling eliminate a lot of people along the way. That's perfectly fine. It's a team game, right?
I'm a nice guy.
Bobby Witt didn't win a Gold Glove just from his individual performance. Well, actually, I guess that's what he would have done. Never mind.
I think he did.
Yeah, but he's not going to win a Silver Slugger because of his individual. Damn it. All right, whatever. Sterling, on to the leisure side.
Sports nicknames, one-hit wonders, and riddles.
I've got to go riddles. I think they're fun.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go with I have branches, but no fruit, trunk, or leaves. What am I?
Ooh.
Dylan got it right away.
Yeah, I knew this one. Yeah.
I have branches.
I think there's a couple of answers here.
But no fruit,
I think there's
trunk, or leaves.
We will accept Dylan's answer, and then I've got
This
another
would be
one
like
that we would accept.
I mean, I work in my branch office, so like my company's got branches, but no fruit, trunk, or leaves.
Yeah, you're kind of on the right path.
The library's got branches.
Yeah.
Let's go with library.
Yeah, we'll count it.
Yeah,
it's a bank was what I was originally going for, but library does have branches
Dylan
too.
said bank. I would have accepted government. There are branches of the government.
Government.
So, yeah. Is that a winner? Did he get both of them right?
Just that
Is that how we
easy.
play? Okay, fantastic. Chuck, we'll put you on hold, and you get to have a conversation with Dylan. That's we're not going to give you $25 to Johnny's Tavern because we've exchanged that for you getting to talk to Dylan. So, you know,
Even better.
What a letdown.
We'll put you on hold, Chuck. Thank you for playing, man. Appreciate it. There we go. 1 for 1. Got a lead off right there. Royals still need that.
Royals need Chuck.
We've got that. We need Chuck. Chuck needs to lead off for the Royals.
Chuck Knobloch. Was that Chuck Knobloch?
It is not.
Okay.
No. He was able to throw it over to Dylan.
Okay.
Let's go to who is up next? It is Avery next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Avery, sports or leisure? What side would you like to start with, sir?
Hey, guys, I'd like to give a shout-out to my buddy Nick's out-of-state girlfriend, Lynn. She supposedly listens to this every week, so if you're real, Lynn, this one's for you.
Woo! If you're real, she goes to a different high school. It's like she's
don't
totally
know her.
like she's real. Like she was gonna come to prom, but then she had like a modeling thing in Europe she had to go to, and it just came up last second because she's very popular there. But yeah, she's totally real. And next prom, she's planning on being here.
Yeah. I'll stay gold, Pony Boy.
All right, stay gold, Pony Boy. I know this is technically the Royals category, but that's fine. It's you. Bobby Witt. I think I should save this for next week, but I'm not going to. I don't care. Bobby Witt's going to win the Silver Slugger this year as a shortstop. He won the batting title. He had 100 and plus RBIs as a shortstop. He's going to win the Silver Slugger. There has been one player one shortstop, I should say, that has won a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger and a batting title in their career, Bobby will do it in 1 year. There has been one player that has done that in his career to have all three.
For the Royals?
Nope.
Oh.
In Major League Baseball.
So a Silver Slugger.
A Gold Glove.
A Gold Glove.
And won a batting title in his career. Bobby will do that in his third full season in Major League Baseball.
Did this guy play for the Tigers?
No, he did not. He is a shortstop only.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know.
Specifically
Yeah,
shortstop.
this is.
Is it?
I think I got it.
You think you got it? You think you got it? Oh, you think you got it?
He played for 3 teams.
But got it.
In
Just
his
don't
Major
get it.
League Baseball career, if I'm correct.
He did.
Did Rod Carew play second or shortstop?
Second, and then first late in his career.
He converted.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I hope people got that.
Cal Ripken didn't have a good batting average ever.
Nope. Nope. Never won a.
Don't overthink.
He didn't win a. I don't think he won a Silver Slugger.
I think I'm correct here.
Oh, I'll say Derek Jeter then.
No. Less than do I have.
It's not Jeets.
Yeah.
It is not Derek Jeter. Although, let me tell you, Jeter did bat .343 in a year. He just didn't win a batting title that year.
This guy.
But it is not Jeter, Avery.
This guy batted .358.
Yeah, when he won the batting title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but
he was
didn't,
20.
But he didn't do it in one season.
No, but he was 20 years old.
The guy played for 3 teams. Yeah, I messed up that clue.
It's fine. It's fine. But you know what? We're all winners because we'll find out if Lynn is real or not.
Yes, I guess we will.
So we're all going to win somehow. You know, we'll get the answer
too much
to that
pressure
finally.
for Avery. This is what it was. Lynn was listening. He found out.
It's pressure, man. Yeah, that's true. Avery, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. Next week we'll find out if Lynn is real.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, brother. 913-381-1010. That question is out there and
It'd be
available
great
for
if
somebody to
Lynn
call in
now
and request.
called in and got that question right.
Yeah,
That would be
That's what we
electric.
need.
Yeah.
That's what we need. If Lynn calls in, we'll find a way to move her to the front of the line. But then you have to tell us a lot of dirt on Avery on the air. Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Charles, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Leisure. Let's do the nicknames.
All right, sports nicknames. We'll go with this is a fun one. This is a
it?
Chiefs-related one.
Oh, great.
Who was Hungry Pig? It's more of a play, but he was the main guy involved in Hungry Pig.
Right?
Hungry Pig, and he played for the Chiefs?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very famous play.
It was a great play. It was on the right side, too. Wasn't left. And he wasn't from Hungary. A little tip for you. He was not.
That wasn't really a tip.
He was from Memphis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is shocking because you may have thought Baltimore originally.
Would you have?
It was a play for a touchdown, I think, wasn't it?
It was a play for a touchdown.
It was a play for a touchdown.
Yep.
That's Don Terry Poe, I believe.
That was Don Terry Poe.
Don Terry Poe.
That's what I said. You might have you might have thought he was from Baltimore because Poe is in Edgar Allan, but no.
I didn't put those things together. I remember when they drafted Don Terry Poe. I hated that draft pick so much. Hated it so much. I thought this guy is a combine warrior that couldn't put up stats at Memphis against lower level offensive linemen that aren't in the NFL, and he's going to be a good defensive lineman in the NFL. We had a former center that was our college football local guy that played for Louisville, and he said in his career, maybe the easiest guy for him to block was Don Terry Poe. And I was like, oh, my God. And then he got to the NFL and was like, oh, that's right, because he didn't want to be there at Memphis, and he hated his coaches, and he just was not carrying on the field. And then he went to the combine, killed it, and then he was a good defensive lineman. All right, I guess that matters, too. On to the sports side, Charles. But, man, I hated that draft. I was like, this is going to be a terrible bust. But he was a good player, and he was a hungry pig, Charles, sports side, we got Stay Gold. We got a question out there already about Bobby Witt. That's Silver Slugger and Gold Glove. But the rest of those Gold Glove questions are about Royals players specifically. We have NFL, and we have Chiefs and Broncos.
Let's go Chiefs Broncos.
Chiefs Broncos for you. Okay. He caught a lot of flack from Broncos fans for leaving in the middle of the season to catch passes in Kansas City. He had no problem dishing it out right back at him. But take caution in Google searching his famous line to a reporter talking about the Broncos. The word on can quickly be changed to in on the internet. Who is that Chief and Bronco?
Oh, boy.
Actually hosted a show with him back in the 2000 aughts, late 2000 aughts, right here on Sports Radio 810. Once a week. Me and my man.
Can you run that by me one more time, please?
So he played for the Broncos and the Chiefs. He caught a lot of flack from Broncos fans because he ended up leaving middle of the season from Denver and ended up in Kansas City. He dished it right back at him. Take caution in Googling his famous line about the Broncos that they were getting ready to play that weekend, because the word on can quickly be changed to in on the internet.
Yeah, okay. That was a really good hint right there.
Yeah, that happened to Corey Anderson. On the air live. Because the search results said showing results for in instead of on. All right, throw a dart. What do you say?
Offensive player, right?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Wide receiver.
Yep, that's right. Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite Chiefs receivers for some reason of
Dude,
all
he was
time.
great, man. He was fun on the air, too. We had a good time doing
Didn't
the
know
show
you did a
together.
show with him.
Yep. Well, thank you for listening. We had a good time doing the show with him. So, big fan of your work, too, there, Sterling.
Jamal Charles?
It was not, although, yeah, he did play for both, but it was not Jamal Charles. Charles, thank you for playing. Appreciate it, man. 913-381-810. That question is out there, available for someone to call in and request.
2 questions out there.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to be giving away some stuff, man. We're going to give away some things. $25, Johnny's Tavern. We will take a timeout. We will continue rolling as we've got some more sports or leisure that we will be playing here on this Thursday edition. More Zone next. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. Playing some sports or leisure. It's presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 at Johnny's Tavern on the line. Get a sports question, get a leisure question, get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, you lose. The question out there available for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it or they Googled it, whatever. We have 2 questions that are out there on the sports side. One about the Chiefs and Broncos and one about the Gold Glove involving Bobby Witt, assuming a Silver Slugger is in his future with Major League Baseball, in the fact that he's already won a Gold Glove and already won the batting title. And if he wins a Silver Slugger, it would mean that he's done something that one player in Major League history has done in their entire career. Bobby would do it in a season. Let's go to Shane next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Shane, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
I'd like to start with leisure, please.
All right, we got sports nicknames. We have one-hit wonders, and we have riddles.
I know you love the riddles, Sterling, but I'm bouncing between the other two. Let's go ahead and do. Let's go one-hit wonders.
All right.
See what you got.
One-hit wonders. This is a fun one. It takes 2 to make a thing go right. It takes 2 to make him out of sight.
Well, it's two guys' names. I can think of it off the top of my head, but
correct.
But I don't think I can think of the second one. That's my problem. I can think of Rob Bays.
Yes, Rob Bass is one. I almost want to count it because you got Rob Bass.
Count it.
If I can think, DJ.
Yes, you're on the correct track.
I'm thinking of the song, man. Me and my sister used to sing this all the time, being nerds.
You got it though. You got Rob Bass and DJ. Yes, you're so close.
Rock. Easy Rock.
Yes.
Easy Rock.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good work, man.
Good pull.
Good work. All right. On to the sports side. Let's. We got Chiefs and Broncos. We have NFL, and then we have Stay Gold, Ponyboy, about Royals Gold Glove winners, and that question out there involving Bobby Witt with the batting title.
Yeah,
Silver Slugger.
that question I think I want because I thought you said it was a Royal player that did it in his total career, but it's just a major. There's only
one
person.
time that's done it in his career combined.
One shortstop.
One shortstop. Yes.
Because Willie Wilson has done it.
There is a Royal that has done it. It's Willie Wilson, but as a shortstop, there's only one other shortstop that's done it in their career of winning a batting title, winning a Gold Glove, and winning a Silver Slugger. All 3 of those things on their career resume. Bobby's should be a week away from accomplishing all those in year 3.
Okay. Well,
and Sterling said he played for 3 different teams. All American League teams, too, by the way.
So I'm thinking of a different guy that played for a National League team.
Were you thinking of Robin Yount?
No. Okay. I'm thinking a guy that played on the West Coast. And I'm thinking, and I could have sworn he did all 3 of those things.
This guy did play on the West Coast for his first start.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the guy I'm thinking of played his whole career at one. But he didn't ever – he played outfield. So that's –
No, shortstop only. Yeah, shortstop only.
Yeah.
Shortstop only. Okay. Ooh, that's a tough one then. I don't know if I better shoot for that one.
I mean, I can give you another one. That's fine.
I think once the name gets said, everyone's going to be like, of course.
Everybody's doing it. Everybody I know.
3 different players.
3 different teams.
Or 3 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He won 3 MVPs.
Yeah, he would own an MVP as well. Yeah.
14-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, 2 Gold Gloves, has that batting title, and 10 Silver Sluggers.
Yeah. Like, there's one player that I believe did all of it in one season. That he not as a shortstop, but there's one player that did it all in one season and won an MVP. And I'll just say, that was Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts won a batting title, a Gold Glove, a Silver Slugger, and MVP.
Willie Wilson
in one season.
Willie Wilson was
but that was just 1 year though.
Yeah, same. Willie Wilson did it all 1 year, but it was 4th in MVP voting.
Bragger.
I think I got the guy that you're thinking that you said everybody's going to know because he played for a West Coast team, then he played for a Southern team, and then an East Coast team.
That's
correct.
Exactly right.
All right, that's Alex Rodriguez. guys.
Yes, it
A-Rod
is.
is the only shortstop that has done it in his career to have a batting title, a Gold Glove, and a Silver Slugger. And he did it in 3 different years, and Bobby Witt will do it in 1.
Robin Yount was 1 point off
That's right.
doing it. He hit 331.
Yeah,
the
but
batting title that year was 332.
By who?
Willie Wilson. So Willie
Thanks,
Wilson,
Billy.
the Royals, keeping the Royals royal.
Yes, Willie Wilson saved Bobby Witt from now being the only shortstop to do it all in 1 year. Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, and batting title, because Willie Wilson beat out Robin Yount for the batting title that year.
By 1 point.
And that is a winner for Shane, correct?
That is.
Hey, how about that? There we go. Shane, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Yeah, you too. 913-381-810-810 is the phone number. 913-381-810, the phone number there. So a lot of these guys, it was the batting title.
Yeah.
Which is like for Jeter, he's got Silver Sluggers and Gold Gloves, and he just only batted 343 1 year, so that's dumb.
Should hit higher.
He should have been better, all right? It's about your competition that year. You don't have to have the highest batting average ever, you know? Come on. Let's go to Matt is next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's start with Chiefs and Broncos, please.
Chiefs and Broncos for you. We have a question out there, and we have plenty of fresh ones.
I know that one, but let's try a fresh one.
All right, very good. An unlikely Madden cover player. He barely gained over 700 yards rushing in his 3 combined seasons between the Chiefs and the Broncos. Yeah. It was his short 2 years in Cleveland where most remember him from. That and as random of a player on the cover of Madden that anybody may ever see.
Huge arms. Just massive
Massive
arms.
legs, too.
I knew it as soon as you said Madden.
Okay.
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis is correct. Peyton Hillis, the Cleveland Brown, Kansas City Chief, Denver Bronco, and who else? Mainly the Madden cover. That's what people remember. If he didn't play in Kansas City, I would only remember it from the Madden cover. So that is a winner. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Let's riddle me.
All right, I'll riddle you.
Riddle him.
All right, throw away the outside and cook the inside. Then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it?
Oh, my God.
Throw away the outside and cook the inside. Then you eat the outside and throw away the inside.
I think I know it.
Throw away the outside.
I don't know.
Cook the inside.
Clearly, I'm not right because I just said it to Sterling and he looked confused as hell.
Well, I'm not good at reading lips. Dylan's back there doing some ciphering. He's really trying to get this one. So you throw away the outside.
Yeah.
Then you cook the inside.
Okay. All right.
Then you eat the outside.
Okay.
And then you throw away the inside.
All right, so we're
really
let's say
popular in the
peanut-
Midwest. It's grown a lot here too.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
How about corn on the cob?
Corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. I was thinking of a healthy somebody
said
who
eggs?
somebody who eats eggs healthy. You throw away the shell, you cook it, but then you don't cook the yolk.
You said eggs. I was like, well, kind of, but not really.
An egg white.
Yeah.
An egg white omelet. Okay, thank you, sir. Sorry, I'm thinking on another level than you are, Sterling.
Yeah, corn on the cob. You shuck the husk, then you
There we
cook
go.
the inside, and you eat the out.
Matt, that's Peyton Hillis and corn on the cob, right? All right, very good. Matt, we'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thanks.
Absolutely. 913-381-810. So how about that? We've got
That's
a number
a fun
of winners
riddle, huh?
already. Cool.
Pretty good riddle.
Yeah, I liked that one. I got the corn on the cob eventually.
Yeah.
But once I got off egg.
I had to let it was
an
a
egg.
hard one.
It's an egg. I don't care what you guys say. It's an egg. It's an egg. It's an egg. Yeah, and he scrambled it. Let's go to Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andrew, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Let's do Chiefs Broncos.
Chiefs Broncos. Okay, we have a question out there that we've asked, and we have also plenty of other ones.
I didn't hear the one.
Well, I'll tell you the one that was out there, and you can decide if you want that one or not. This player caught a lot of flack from Broncos fans for leaving in the middle of the season to catch passes in Kansas City. He had no problem dishing it out right back at him, but take caution in Google searching his famous line to a reporter getting ready to play the Broncos. The word on can be changed to in on the internet. That's the question that's out there, or you can have a fresh one. Just wanted to.
Eddie Kennison?
It is Eddie Kinnison. Well done, Eddie Kinnison. Because his line getting ready for the Broncos was, I'm going to put something on they ass. Corey Anderson then was looking up that quote from Eddie Kinnison. Instead, it showed him images of people that put something in instead of on.
Oh. Oh. No.
Andrew over to Leisure with Sterling.
No.
That happened live on the air, too. Over to Leisure with
He
with
knew
Sterling.
what he was doing.
No, it just came up and said showing results for, and he's like, what the hell? He's like, oh my God, no.
Sports
Anyway.
nicknames, one-hit wonders, and riddles.
Man, I don't know if anything matters after that.
Nothing really matters.
Let's do sports nicknames.
All right, sports nicknames. We'll go to baseball. Loved this player. He was nicknamed the Laser Show. The Laser Show.
I'm gonna use air quotes. Laser Show.
I mean,
He's a short guy, 5'9", played second base.
He didn't even have a head. Harry, I took care of it.
Pretty
bird.
Career batting average of
Pretty bird.
299, just under 300.
Pretty bird.
This older player?
Not really. I mean, early to mid 2000s. I mean, he played from 06 to 2019.
5'9".
Bobby Witt's a big fan of this guy.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
I don't know that, but a lot of people were a big fan of this guy.
Yeah, but Bobby Witt specifically because he was talking about like his number and choosing it and why, including this guy and Jeets. Am I correct in this?
His other nickname is the Muddy Chicken, but I thought that was going to be harder. The Laser Show was what he was typically.
Laser Show's pretty tough too. So I don't think
It would have been hilarious if that would have been the hint that got him over.
If he's like, oh yeah, I know the Muddy Chicken. What do you mean?
Why didn't you say the Muddy Chicken, huh?
The Laser Show. He was great because he did it all.
Mm-hmm.
Did it all.
Oh boy.
I don't know how many more hints I can give you without giving this away.
I didn't catch any of the hints, so
Second,
you could give me more.
Second baseman, and he played in the AL East from 2006, and then he retired in 2019. Won two World Series.
That would have been amazing if he won two Super Bowls.
Two World Series.
Yeah. He's almost a guy. He didn't have a batting title, but he would have been a second baseman that would have Gold Glove and Silver Slugger and an MVP.
Yeah, all for one team.
AL East and
AL East second baseman, all for one team.
All for one.
Alfonso Soriano.
It was not Al.
No.
It was not Al. Andrew, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, sir. 9133.
But he played for multiple teams: the Cubs, Nationals,
This
Yankees.
guy won one team.
One team always.
All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling, playing some sports or leisure. Presented by Johnny's Tavern. More Zone right after this. You still want to go with one-hit wonder, Rob Bass?
I know.
Do you?
People are going to argue all the time on what constitutes a one-hit wonder,
Okay.
okay? And I get that.
So what does it mean to you? Can they be a two-hit wonder and be a one-hit wonder?
Our one-hit wonders have a couple wonders, and our riddles have like 5 answers. That's how it works.
Come on.
good point.
Like whenever I said Faith No More and Epic, I'm like, well, that's not really true. They had more bangers than that. If I said like Velvet Revolver had Slither, I'm like, well, that's not really true. They had more bangers than that.
Okay, because Rob Bass also had Joy and Pain, you know?
Yeah, sorry.
And
Was that Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, or is that just Rob Bass?
It's none of your business, dude.
No. That's a fair question.
If I knew the answer to that, I would tell you, but I don't know the answer to that.
Huh.
All right?
Shocking.
I get my musical knowledge from my brother. I just ask him,
Yeah,
hey.
it's not from your dome.
I just, I tap him on his head and I go, hey, music stuff. Music info. Hey, talk. Music info stuff.
Yeah, so
I don't have
Laser
any,
Show.
I don't have any questions that were out there that we did not get an answer to because Eddie Kinnison and Alex A-Rod were answered. Those were the questions that were out there. So there we go. What about on the leisures? Everybody answered everything answered correctly over there? Oh, what'd you have available?
Laser Show was Dustin Pedroia.
What?
The Laser Show.
Dustin Pedroia.
Also, apparently, the Muddy Chicken.
Okay. There's news with a contract extension in the NFL. As expected, the Carolina Panthers drafting a running back early in the second round and Jonathan Brooks with a torn ACL, but that's for the future, not just for this year. So they gave Chuba Hubbard a 4-year extension worth $33 million.
The last running back they gave a 4-year extension to worked out well, didn't it? Miles Sanders, didn't that work out well?
What is going on? We're going to draft a running back in the second round, the first running back taken. And then the guy who we have as our backup, we're going to give 4 years, $33 million because actually turns out he's pretty good player. Sorry, Petro next.